Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your host, Dylan Moss, and I have with me the having a great time, Kirklin Patzer. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm having a great time. It's I didn't realize it till today, but it's a long weekend coming up, so that's a nice little feeling, little motivation to get through the week. And then September's almost here, which I'm ready for. I'm ready for summer to be over. And then I got my big trip end of October, and then it's just gonna be like snowboarding, school, like it's just gonna be like bang, bang, bang. So I'm very excited on what's on the horizon, but I'm still trying to take it, just day by day and just soak in the moment, just enjoy summer as much as I can, because I know it's gonna be like really cold in the wintertime and be like, man, I can't wait for summer, because that always happens. Just the cycles, the mood changes and whatnot, the seasonal depression will just creep in, and even if it doesn't hit me hard, it just affects, I think, everyone overall. So I'm just still vibing, but I'm having a great time.
I love that. It's good to hear. Yeah, I feel like one of the subtle signs that the summer is ending is when Gamescom is happening. That's always like the end-ish of August. We're kind of rolling it in. It's probably like the end of the kind of extended summer hype cycle of video game announcements and all that. So this is going to be a great time of an episode as well. I think we're going to talk about Gamescom, of course. That was last week. Kirby, a third Nintendo Direct week in a row, so it's kind of crazy. They're just pumping them up. We'll see if another one drops this week, and we just keep that streak going. That'd be cool. And then also talk about some of the games we've been playing. Sword of the Sea is the newest big game out there, and me and Kirkland have both been playing that as well. So yeah, it should be a fun episode all around. A little apologies, I guess, that last week's there was no episode last week, just because of some scheduling things came up. We ended up shifting things around, but that means you're getting a big, meaty episode right here, and then in a couple days you're actually getting a second episode this week where we're going to do a fun, special episode. It's kind of like a delayed GV 10-year celebration fun episode kind of thing, so look forward to that. There's a lot of great stuff coming out on SideQuest right here, and so let's just start by getting into the classic, the games that we've been playing. I want to build up to Sword of the Sea, maybe start with the other things first. So, I don't know, Kirkland, you got anything else you've been playing other than Sword of the Sea that you wanted to shout out here?
I think just a quick shout out. Somebody that I work with, he was telling me how he has this like addiction, and he's just trying to, put the video games down for a while. He was getting a little bit too into League of Legends, and then of course he's like, "Have you ever heard of that?" And I'm like, buddy, come on now. And then of course we just like tell our whole tale of like how we got into it and like our peaks talking about, and we were getting into like the esports aspect of it too, which is always great because it's such a niche thing. Like I know esports are big, but like especially for a video game like that, like I'm not gonna just get in on like, oh, what did you do this weekend? Like, oh my god, dude, MSI finals, Gen G versus like, I'm not gonna go to that level. But when someone is on that same wavelength, it's magic. Like even sometimes in 24-hour stream, I'm pretty sure like every 24-hour stream is when Worlds is on, and of course we usually see the great Tyler Sayers coming around, so he's usually got his finger on the pulse, so then him and I just kind of link in there and get hyped on it. But yeah, so that happened at work, and then of course it was just like, okay, well now we got to play a game, like we got to boot it up. I haven't played it in months. It's just one of those things I usually pick up like around Worlds, which we're kind of leading into now, so it's just kind of a
Did you consider coming down for the big championship that was here in Vancouver?
We were talking about that. Yeah, he was really close to doing it, and I hadn't really been following like the whatever the term. I think it was MSI, which it was like very hyped for. Like I haven't seen like the finals or anything, just because I haven't really had my finger on the pulse lately. But I heard it was really hyped, and yeah, that would have been actually pretty cool to see live, because Faker's like still going, which is just like the one OG guy, the original youngest champion of all time, and now he's just like the old boy, which is hilarious. He's born the same year as me, so I just feel old. And but anyways, so we jumped into that on the weekend. It was like me, him. I brought up Hidalgo, who made his Geekverse appearance after 9 there, the watch along. So we were on there with another buddy, so we kind of had like a whole crew going, and it was fun just to play a couple games. Still got it. I was still cooking on a couple of those games. Nice. There's definitely some where I'm like, man, I have no idea what this new champion is, or just what some of the meta shifts are. But no, it was fun to just pick up and have a full lobby of friends and just go at it. Those games are just always fun. Whether it's like a CS, like I don't play that game, but if you have a whole group of friends, like you're gonna have fun with it. So that was a good time. Just a couple games here and there. Didn't really go too hard on it.
You don't want to get fully back into it because it's
Exactly.
dangerous. Definitely do not tell that guy about Balatro because I feel like he would just go down a deep dark.
Talk about
spiral if
addiction.
he
It's
knew
like
about that
gambling
game.
too,
Yeah,
a little bit with the
exactly.
poker side. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because I have a couple friends who went to the league event here in
Nice.
Vancouver, and they're big fans of that. And I was considering going as well, even though I don't like follow the game at all, just because it would be cool to go to a huge esports thing. Because I've only really been to like Smash stuff, and then I guess I went to Evo, but that's like fighting games, a little bit different. I've always wanted to go to like a Counter-Strike or a League or one of those kind of big team sports games. I just think that would be really fun to watch. But it's funny, my friend was telling me, I was every time I see him, I'm like, how's your League games going? How's stuff going? And he was telling me about like just the journey he's going on because he has like 2 accounts now, and he's gotten like both his accounts up to plat because he went to Japan last year, and like you need to like pay to transfer your account over to Japan, but he didn't want to do that with his account because then you have to pay to like transfer it back. So he like paid some guy online like a $10 to get like a account that was high enough level so he could play ranked while he was in like Japan and all that. So now he has like 2 accounts, and he transferred that one over, so he's keeping both these accounts on like platinum, whatever. But just the funny things people do when they just can't go on a vacation without like, I gotta get my League games in. Gotta make sure I'm in the courts.
Especially if you're in like the ranked kick. Like the big thing with ranked is like you want to get to at least gold and higher, because then you get like the seasonal reward, which is like a skin for the champion.
Gotcha.
And, my buddy was talking, he's like grinding, and I think the season's like ending right now, and he's like, oh, I gotta get in there. And I've been there. I like, especially in my heyday of like being just prime, like I'm studying all the patch notes, and I got my strategies, and I'm trying to get to that one certain rank. I played a couple games with him, and I'm pretty sure we lost like every single one, but the first 5 games, like when you haven't been playing in the season, those are your placement matches. So I think I might have went like 1-4, like I won one of them, and I got placed like gold something just because of like previous ranking. Like you always place lower than what you used to be, but I was like, I don't know, plat something, and I got demoted down to gold, but I'm like, well, I get the skin, so like I don't really need to play this anymore, really. And I think he's like started silver 1, and then now he's like bronze 1. Like he's just been like descending. I'm like, oh man, I've been there, but so he's hard into it. And the thing is actually, if you're 2 tiers higher, like I'm gold, and then it goes like silver, bronze, and he's bronze. Like we can't even play ranked together now because I'm too high of a distance there, even though we lost all the same games together. So it was kind of funny how that went out. But
if I'm ever the guy on the lower end, I hate playing with my high level friends. And and I just get crushed, and they're like, oh, you can learn from these good players. I'm like, no, I'm just having an awful time, and then I don't learn because I'm in a bad mood. So you gotta be careful with that kind of thing.
That's the type of game where it's like if you're going to someone that really knows what they're doing, like it's a different game that they're playing. It's kind of the same thing with anything though, like chess, right? Like if you're against like a really high rated player, and it's like, oh, I know that my knight goes this position. It's like, oh my god, okay, playing against children here.
I'm glad you brought up League. Actually, got a quick question for you. So that same friend, it's his birthday this weekend. I was gonna get him like a gift card for League, so he could get some stuff. Like, what's the amount of money so that he could get like a nice sick like costume, or like I don't know what else you buy with like other than costumes. Were like the main squeeze in League.
Well, like League, I don't know if they're one of the OGs, but they're like one of the OGs in my mind when I think of microtransactions. That's kind of how Riot Games like just became so profitable, was because of that same thing. They've like evolved into the battle pass thing, like how everyone has nowadays, and there's like so much things that is thrown at you like through the battle pass. So it's the same thing with COD. Like I think the battle pass is like 1800 RP. Don't quote me on that. And I think that equates to like $15 to $20. The amounts that you can buy are kind of rates. They're kind of odd. Like I want to say like there's like a $15 amount, but it like doesn't quite get you there. So it's kind of grimy because it's like
there's always like the poor tier and then like the premium tier.
Yeah, exactly. And then like let's say it's like a $20, and then there's like $30, or you get like the $20 and like the $5 to like get what you really want. But like really you should just get the $30 one, because then you get extra, like how it always gets you. So look for that one, I would say. And they kind of ebb and flow, like depending on like Canadian dollars gives you obviously less RP than if you're buying it through like America and stuff like that. And yeah, it can't just be like a $15 amount that's on my account. It's like, oh, I got these fucking like 1822 RP, in my account, but then the skin is like 1850.
That's part of the evil slimy tactic of it, right? Is like obscure 100%. It by changing it to some obscure currency that's different from every other game ever. That way people can't just like quick math and be like, oh, I'm spending too much money on this, because they're like, oh, it's a valid amount of money compared to this other thing within the game's like own economy. But that's a whole other topic. I
would say definitely. I mean, I could even do research for you and check it out, log in, and see what the battle pass is. Because like the battle pass,
if I get him $50 of RP points, like that's
he's cooking. Come on,
cooking. Okay,
that's like back in the day. I remember we worked at Target. Actually, there was like a promo. I don't know. It was like buy one get one half off or something for the gift cards, nice. And I specifically bought RP. It was the first time I ever bought like physical RP gift cards, and I bought like the most expensive skin. I felt like a high roller back then. I was like still living with my parents, like it was probably like right after high school.
A couple of those in Heroes of New Earth, and I just feel like a god. I'm like, oh yeah, look at me.
People are like, oh my god, look at that skin, and then you do terrible, and then they just shit talk you like, yes, pay to win doesn't help you. All the chirps come in, but it's So yeah, that's my little league update there. And then beyond that, what have I been playing? Last week's kind of like a fever dream, just because like I was not feeling well, and then everything was just blended together. Yeah. So I didn't really know exact. Like I was watching a lot of things, sleeping a lot, So that's okay. I don't want to talk about the main heavy hitter yet, but what have you been playing?
I really just have one highlight for you here. I've been playing a couple different things, but just one I wanted to talk to you about is because I admitted to you a couple months ago how I kind of had this blind spot in the Grand Theft Auto series, which is that I just didn't know GTA 3 was like really a thing. But Kirklin, in preparation for Sword of the Sea, I picked up a month of PS Plus, was browsing through, see what's on there, and they had GTA 3 Remaster on there. So I'm like, you know what? No better time than now. Let me download this puppy. And like, I don't know, 12, 14 hours later, whatever, I've rolled credits on GTA 3. So now I've knocked another GTA game off my playlist, which, compared to like 5, man, like, which is, I feel like such a long game. Maybe if you just mainline it, maybe it's not as long as I think it is, but I just remember spending hundreds of hours in that game. But after playing like maybe 15 hours now of GTA 3, kind of completed all the main quests. There's not a whole lot to do in the world, so it's like I've kind of done everything I feel like there is to do in this game. That's probably not true. There's probably some hidden bonus things you can do, but it's been an interesting time to go back and just knock off this game that I didn't even know existed like 3 months ago, and now I've played through it.
Is there a different costume that you get at any point in that game, or are you just wearing the leather jacket the whole time? Because that's just what I remember.
Yeah, I don't think there's no clothing stores in this game. There's gun stores, and that's the only store in the game. Actually, now that I think about it, that's the only way you can spend money. Maybe you could buy a cab, but I don't think I ever even tried that. But yeah, like in the gun store also has like armor and like it just has like everything that you could possibly want to buy. So it's just a one-stop shop for everything you need. And then you go back to your house to get a baseball bat and like heal. That's kind of like the two places you can like go inside of and like interact with stuff. But yeah, no new outfits, and that was something that surprised me about this game because GTA and like Rockstar in general, like the opening credits of this game are like a movie. It's like slow like pan shots of the city. It's very cinematic, like has like the title cards, all that stuff. But even though it's a very cinematic game, very narrative focused, like the protagonist, I don't even know his name. I can't remember it because he doesn't have a spoken line of dialogue in the game, and he doesn't even have like text or anything. He's just a voiceless protagonist, but he's like a named guy, so it's weird. It's not like he's like some avatar in a lot of games, but I'm just that's a funny thing going back and seeing like a GTA game that has like just a protagonist who doesn't talk is kind of crazy. Like he just feels like such a nothing character in the mix of it, which is weird because like San Andreas, like your character definitely talks in that game, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. CJ, man.
And like Vice City, I assume as well.
Yeah. So
those being like the three, like the trilogy that kind of came out on like the same engine. Obviously, this was the first one of that batch, but I guess they didn't have that tech yet at the time, or they didn't want to. The story chops. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a weird change. I guess I should preface this by saying that I am playing maybe it's the 2021 remaster of this, and they also released it as part of like the GTA trilogy remaster. And I think this game's been remastered a couple times over the years, so I'm definitely not playing the original version of it. So, but I assume that's not something they would cut. Oh my God, there's literally a black bear that just walked in my front yard right now as I'm recording.
Holy fuck.
That's fucking wild.
Is your door closed?
Everything is closed, man. He just walked right through the hedge right in front of my house. That's crazy.
Does that happen often?
I've heard I heard because the garbage keeps getting knocked over, and my neighbor's like, "Oh, there's a bear in our yard the other day." I was like, "Oh, really? I didn't see him." But now I've seen him walk around the neighborhood. But wow, that just kind of jump scared me. So sorry about that.
That's a true monster.
Yeah. So we're my GTA 3. This is a game that you either rented or played at a friend's house or something, but like it's not one you've played like a ton of, I guess.
No, my cousin had this one. I remember like friends having this one also, but like I don't think I ever did a single mission in any of those games. It would just be like, okay, let's try and get the biggest car crash or something, or like let's just the classic, go on a rampage, go until the cops get you, or you die, and then hand over the remote. Like that was always my GTA experience, really, until San Andreas. But even most of my San Andreas experience was the same thing. Like I don't think I beat a GTA game until like later in life, like when I played San Andreas on PC back when I had the San Andreas multiplayer mod. Shouts out to anyone that knows that era of gaming, because that was probably peak online GTA experience for me. Almost, GTA 5 kind of they killed it with what they did, but San Andreas multiplayer online mod, shouts out to that. That was good times. But yeah, never really went through the missions.
Yeah. I was surprised that I quite enjoyed the missions for the most part. Like this is a very, very simple game. It is the same stuff as the later games have, but everything's just like a little bit lesser, a little bit shorter, less depth and all that. And I feel like the classic criticism of like any Rockstar game is like, as soon as you go back to an older one, it's like, oh yeah, like the gunplay doesn't feel very good. The car physics are always like a 50-50. You go back to like GTA 4 and it's like, wow, these cars are slippery, and like compared to GTA 5 just doesn't feel like it has that polish. And so this is a weird case where it's an older game that I'm playing, but obviously I'm playing a remaster of it, and so I can't speak on like the changes from it. But I actually love the driving mechanics in this game. I thought it played really, really well. And even just like the whole vibe of it, like obviously when this version came out, this remaster of the trilogy, it got a ton of criticism. For one, I think just coming out like kind of buggy and broken. I think on the Switch it's still like a total mess. And like the visuals that they changed for it, they lost some of the character, but also the characters look atrocious. There's a couple characters in here, Kirklin, that look like they're ripped right out of Sasquatch Sunset. Like their faces are like really shrunken and really freaky and really weird. And like the only guy that actually looks good is your protagonist. It's just funny because like he doesn't even have dialogue, so it's hard to feel too connected to him. But everyone else looks abysmal. So I definitely feel that. But in terms of the visuals of the rest of it, like I don't know, it looks fine to me. It has like a Simpsons hit and run kind of sheen to it, where it's like a little bit more colorful and bright, and like everything feels like almost a little bit plastic. The cars feel like a little like Hot Wheels or something like that in this world. So it's definitely not like the gritty tone that I expect from GTA. And also I think it's such a funny kind of dichotomy against specifically GTA 4, another one set in New York, just like this game is, which if you go back to that game, man, like it is super dark, super pale, the lighting's like super funky, and like I still love that game, I really do. But it's funny looking at like the very two different versions of New York, and this is like such a small map, it doesn't even really feel like New York because it's just so tiny compared to like even just the scale of 4, but just like that visual tone to it as well. But yeah, I really love driving around, and that's obviously what like 90% of the missions are, is just driving from place to place, and then maybe there's some combat sequences in there. But man, the cars are like borderline paper mache. Like they will flip so quickly. If a car ever flips on its head, instantly catches on fire, and you have to spam the eject button.
Oh, I remember that
100%.
As soon as it flips over, you're cooked.
Even if you're in like a fucking Honda Civic or something, the Rockstar equivalent, and you smash into a car at like, I'll not even top speed, but like mostly top speed, it'll like fling that car across the screen, and then if it lands on its upside down like a turtle, it'll start exploding, and other cars driving up to it. It starts like a chain reaction. Like the physics I found super fun in this game, and there's a couple missions. One where you like start at pretty much the top of a hill. It's almost like a San Francisco kind of themed. There's kind of 3 parts of the map that unlock as you get further in the game, as GTA kind of classically does. And this one mission I had to redo like 6 or 7 times. And whenever you start the mission, you're at the top of this hill, and you have to go down like 4 or 5 streets that are like pretty steep. And man, it was so much fun doing that mission over and over again. Not just accepting that I'm failing, but just flying down this hill, top speed, smashing into cars, watching them like rubber band and bounce off the wall, and then like smash people and pedestrians in the street, blowing up if they flip the wrong way. And I was not even mad if I had to redo certain missions, just because flying around and smashing into stuff, and like the I don't know, the punishment for losing a mission, unless it's a really long one, is really not that bad. Or if it's like a super finicky one where you have to get like a super precise shot, it's kind of annoying. But for the most part, I like didn't mind having to redo missions, which I had to do a lot because this game is super finicky. The cars are also like it just takes it takes one clip and it's on fire. Like they blow up so quickly that you could just lose missions so easily, because so many missions in this, like if you get out of your car, you like instant fail, right? Or like you have 4 seconds to get a new car, which is not always feasible.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot of trial and error with some of these missions, but I had a really good time with that part of it. I also found, I don't know if you remember this, like how I'm curious how your memory goes back to San Andreas, and like if you had to, let's say you got like 3 or 4 stars, the cops are after you and the helis are after you now. Maybe they start spending like a special like VIP, like CIA like cars after you. Like, do you remember how easy or hard it was to like lose the cops? Because I feel like in 4 and 5, not too bad. You learn the tricks. I can get pretty consistent with it. You know, maybe if you get to 6 stars, you're just done for. But for the most part, like I feel like the mechanics of those games like make a lot of sense. But man, I found it so difficult to lose the cops in this game. Even like 2 stars is like super hard sometimes. So I don't know. I'm curious if you remember like Vice City, San Andreas, like if that was kind of the same.
Yeah, I always remember like once you're at 4, like that was kind of the last level that I remember feeling like, okay, it's possible to get rid of them. Like I think like anything beyond that, you're kind of cooked. Like yeah, GTA 5, you look for a railroad, you're good, you know.
Right.
But back then, like GTA 3 era, especially GTA 3 era, like Vice City, San Andreas, that specifically, that was the window when I was playing like on my cousin's PS2, and we would just be playing with cheats also. So then you're like, if you need to get rid of the cops, you just do the little L1R1 down. Like we just had them memorized. Of course, we had our little cheat sheet that we like carbon copied off of the PC on like cheats.com or whatever website we're using, and then you transpose it on a little pencil, paper pencil combo. So yeah, never like got away, and that was the intention though, right? Like we're using the gun cheats to just kill as many helicopters, blow them up, you know, do the car crashes like you explaining. But you totally reminded me of just the car mechanics of that game, and you kind of forget how far they've come in the realism. Like I remember even the first time I played GTA 4, like going from San Andreas to GTA 4 and just being like, man, the cars, like this is like a Need for Speed game. And then you go from 4 to 5, like it's just already such a crazy upgrade. I can't imagine what they have for the new one now.
I mean, there's not even like bikes in this game. It's like pretty simple. That was a funny revelation. I remember you talking about when I was brought this up a couple months ago, that GTA 3, that blind spot for me, and you mentioned like, oh yeah, you just like can't climb over things with your character.
Yeah,
like, just certain things that you're so used to now, which also that makes it hard to get away from the cops sometimes too, because you might have like a quick little getaway over this fence, but you just can't do that in this game. So you have to like set up a car next to a fence, jump on specifically the back of the car so you can get like just high enough to go to get to the top of the car and then jump over this fence. It's like you gotta really math it out sometimes. It can be hard to get to certain areas in this game.
I can't remember. Do they have like the SWAT like helicopters that have guys like shooting at you in that game?
Yes, there are. Okay. There are those, and at the airport there are helicopters, but I was not able to get into any of them, so I don't actually know if the player can get in a helicopter. I assume the game would make a mission where you have to be in one if that had a thing, but I did like all the lettered missions, like there's other like side bonus ones, I guess, but so I assume that would have happened. And then there is one, I think only one plane that I could find that I could get into, and I could not get it to work, man. The amount of times I tried to go the longest runway, picking up enough speed, I would get like 30 feet in the air and then it would just like topple right down and smash. So I could not figure out the plane either. It was super janky. But yeah, I don't know if you can control the helicopters, but there's definitely enemies that are gunning you down. I think when you get 3 stars is when they pop up. But they're not that big of a threat, honestly. They're pretty chill.
Well, that's the thing that I remember. Like I remember being there very limited options in like how you can get away, whether you're going down alleys, hopping over a fence. Like there's nothing to that level. But I remember there was like specific areas of the map. I just remember that it's like, okay, there's a staircase, which is super rare on a building. There's a staircase to get to like the top of a building. It's like a single story, so then you're just getting to the top. And that would be like the camp spot. So you like do your cheats. You know, maybe you do like the wanted level cheats, and then you get the cops coming to you, and then you just go to this one spot, and there's just like one area where the cops can come. So you're just sitting there with your RPG, unlimited ammo, or whatever the hell you have. And but like in later games, if you were to be in that position, like you're just getting sniped by the helicopter. So that's where like I couldn't quite remember if they had that in the older styles. Because yeah, I don't think you could do a helicopter. I think that was something maybe Vice City brought in, but a lot of like the big character mechanics I feel like came in San Andreas, whether it was hopping over a fence riding the bikes, stuff like that. Spray painting, that was a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, before GTA 6 comes out, like this was part of my plan at some point to replay a bunch of the GTA games. I don't know how much I'll do a 4 or 5. Like, I don't think I'd do a full playthrough of those again, but I'll probably boot them up and just cruise around for a little bit, which I already do anyway every once in a while. But definitely wanted to go back and check this game out. And then Vice City, I definitely want to do, obviously, because of the setting. So I'm going to play through that game as well. And then San Andreas, I'm guessing, is quite a bit longer, but I also like to do that because that's a game I played a bunch as a young lad, but also same as you. Like, I don't think I ever did a mission in that game. So it'll be fun to kind of see the differences and like that evolution between them. And I'm guessing, but I don't know, it might also be a little bit homogenized. I'm guessing, like with the mechanics of this, if like the remasters, I'm guessing they're all kind of were made at the same time. And I don't know what but San Andreas, like I'm guessing you can like climb over walls in that game. So I don't know if they just like didn't put that back in GTA 3. So I guess they tried to stay pretty true to what they were. Maybe they didn't change the code. Maybe they just updated the visuals. I'm not exactly sure. Kind of interesting to go back and see some of that stuff. But a couple of things that stood out to me. One, once again, with the losing the wanted level, I think why it's so hard, because I feel like maybe it was a GTA 4, maybe it was San Andreas, or I'm not sure, when you could just like maybe go in like a quiet alleyway, or if you were like, in 5, I think you could like hide in a bush or something. It would be a really good way to lose the cops, and you could like see on your map, if they are losing track of you, that kind of stuff. But like in this game, like if you go in an alleyway, it, as far as I can tell, like it doesn't do anything. Like the most consistent way is if you can go in like the spray paint stops. I guess that's another shop you can have in this game. But also weirdly, like a lot of the time, it's like, oh, it's if you have like 3 stars, it's like, oh, it's too hot, man, I can't do this job for you. So like that's not a solution in those situations. But what they have is it's called like a wanted badge or a star badge. I forget what it is, but essentially like a pickup around the map in maybe like 7 or 8 different spots that I could find. There's like a little icon that has like a sheriff's badge, and if you drive into that, it just removes 1 star from your wanted level. Which, like, I don't know, is that in San Andreas or Vice City? Because I don't remember ever seeing that before. So it's kind of weird because it's like always in the same spot. So it feels like, okay, maybe I'm doing this cool chase, but then it's like, okay, well, this chase is always going to end up me going back to the same street because I know that's like the only way I can like lose the cop. So it's a weird mechanic. I don't think it's successful. I think there's a reason they don't have it in later games. But it was kind of interesting to go back and see like, oh, what a weird archaeology I've uncovered here. That this is like a strange system that they've since made better 100 times over.
I totally forgot about those actually, and I feel like they might be in Vice City, but it's a very arcadey mechanic, right? Like in just an open world, you go to this one spot and there's just this little power up there. So that's interesting. I didn't really think of, like, I just totally forgot about them because they obviously aren't in the later games, and it makes sense why they wouldn't be. But yeah, I think Vice City has them, but you'll have to fill me in when you jump in there.
Another thing that I found really cool in this game actually is a big part of the story. The story isn't nothing really to talk too much about. It's, you get betrayed by your girlfriend at the start of the game, you end up in prison, and you get out, and then there's like various gangs. Eventually you turn on one of the gangs, but like, I don't know, none of it's really all that interesting. There's a couple funny performances in here, but for the most part, it's, it's not nothing too special. But one of the things I liked about it is because there was like kind of the mafia, there's like kind of the street gang, and I think there was like a third one that kind of occupied different parts of the map. Because that when you go into like certain areas, if you're in the point in the story when that gang is against you, they'll just like open fire at you when you go there. And there's certain zones I noticed where like, oh, there's always guys that spawn at this one corner. So if I drive through there and I got to make sure my car doesn't get hit, like that's going to be a bad idea. So I got to make sure I like take a different route. But as soon as like you fire a gun or someone fires a gun in a GTA game, you know how like half the NPCs start running frantically, the cars will start driving frantically, like they enter that panic state. And so it made it so like certain blocks in this game, there's just constant like battles happening between like the CIA and like just the street gangs, and then NPCs are driving like wildfire. The cops will show up and like kind of intercept with it, and it made like it actually makes the world super lively, which the rest of the game is not, especially if you compare it to like later GTA games, like the immersion, the amount of things NPCs are doing, the amount of shops you can go into, whether it's like a gas station or a clothing store, as we talked about. There's so many more things that make the worlds feel full. Cluck and Bell, go get some chicken, all that kind of stuff. This game doesn't have a lot of that, but I felt like the street chaos was something that was super fun. And once again, because the cars are so squishy, it also led to a lot of like unfortunate, oh shit, I'm deep in this mission, but I went through the wrong neighborhood and now I'm getting gunned down. And I just don't really recall that happening much in like other GTA games. I don't have like a strong recollection of like, oh, if you go in this neighborhood in GTA 4, like you're gonna start getting gunned down and NPCs are running around crazy. Like I don't really remember that. So I'm sure there's other parts of the games that do that, but mostly I feel like it's contained to like story beats. Like, oh, you go in here and there's enemies set up for this like set piece. But in this game, it just felt like these moments would happen more naturally, which I actually really enjoyed. So I thought that was a cool little highlight in there.
I can't remember for Vice City, but San Andreas I know definitely has something like that. And that was something when like I played the game later on PC and I actually played through the story and like finished the game, and I was like, man, I was missing out on so much content because there's like a big gang aspect where you're Grove Street, you know, the green guys, and then you're always against something ballers. I can't remember what they're actually called. They're purple or pink or whatever it is, but something ballers. That bugs me. I can't remember that one. I would have got that trivia question wrong if you would have had that in your
I was thinking that'd be a kind of trivia question. Yeah.
But like there's like levels where like you're doing like a gang war and you're like literally taking turf, and it's interesting because it's kind of like Skate when you do a trick on a half pipe and then it turns blue. You know, like when you're playing that game on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series.
Yeah, graffiti moto,
and then like you do the mission, you like win the gang war or whatever, and then while you're free roaming, it'll just say like block is under attack, and then like in that area you'll have to like go and defend. If you don't go, then they'll just like most likely win. And because of the aspect of the gangs, you'll just get fired upon by like random the ballers gang, whatever they're actually called. Like they'll just open fire on you, or they'll open fire on like other, like, because sometimes they'll just be like groups of 4 guys that are just all green, and sometimes they'll just like start shooting at the other guys. So going back to what you're mentioning with GTA 3 kind of feeling lively, I remember feeling that in San Andreas, specifically as I got further on in like the story, because then that's when it like incorporates a lot more of like the gang mechanics and kind of building your posse. You can even like ask guys to follow you, and then they'll just like drive with you in your vehicle.
Nice, that's cool.
So that's a really cool mechanic that, again, like I did not touch at all way back in the day, because it was just like you literally play the intro video, you know, you're supposed to go back to your house, and then that's when we're just like playing cheats already in Grand Theft Auto for my cousin and I growing up, which was great. We had lots of fun with that, but that's just how we treated that sandbox of the game.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I feel like I can't quite do that in the same way that I used to when I was younger, where I could just, you know, almost make my own fun in a way. I feel like I need like a little bit of guidance these days, and maybe that's just because of the simplicity of this game. So I'm curious to see how much I get out of that when I jump into Vice City, San Andreas, and kind of dive deeper into those games, and if I'm able to just play freely and just enjoy in that way. But in this one, I felt like there wasn't a whole lot to do or try if I wasn't directly in a mission. There was a couple times I went around, tried different things. But I think I wanted to just shout out my one highlight mission. My favorite mission in the game was pretty hard. It took me a few tries, but it felt really good when I finally got it down. Is you start in one part of the city, and somewhere like this warehouse your gang has set up, and there's like, you know, 15 of them there, and then kind of nearby there's 3 other opposing gang cars set up in different spots. And so when you drive near one of those gang cars, they'll start following you and trying to gun you down and stuff, and your goal is to kind of bait them to where that warehouse is. And then right where that warehouse is like the top of a hill, there's like a huge ramp. So the idea being that you like bait in this car, you let your homies take out these guys, and then you just fly off this ramp and go to the next guy. And then there's like also a combo you can get if you go off that ramp, you land on like near this other rooftop which has like another ramp. And just it was so much fun trying this mission, trying different solutions. At first, I'd be like, "Oh, this one's pretty close. I'll get it from the warehouse." And then after failing a couple times, I was like, "Okay, maybe I should go get the farthest one first and knock it off the list." A couple times I tried like, "Ooh, what if I bait all 3 cars at the same time?" And I'm playing like I'm just kiting them through the city, which, you know, ended up getting extremely chaotic, but was really fun to try out. And then just like, it feels so good just flying off that ramp when you've baited them into the base, and you just get the slow-mo shot of you flying through the air, and then you see like whatever the mission update that tells you like, oh yeah, these guys have been cleared out. You see the tally, the kill count like level up as you fly off. And like you know, one of the times I was doing it, I was on like the perfect run. I had like 1 or 2 of the cars baited in there, taking them out, and I had like a very fast car this time, and I went off that ramp at just the wrong angle. I just had so much speed, I could not stop. I landed somewhere, but then just could not hit the brakes quick enough, flew down this hill, tumbled all the way down this hill, flew into the river, and then just died. And I had to redo the mission. But I was like, man, I just went so freaking far. That felt great. So yeah, there were some really fun missions in the mix here. Some of them, of course, were kind of frustrating as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm talking very highly about this game. I had a really great time with it. It's just the least hot take of all time. Just like, oh, GTA is fun. But I was kind of surprised to go back to this one that's, pretty old and janky. It doesn't have a lot of the features that later ones have, and still had a great time with it. And I think that part of it is that it wasn't super long to get through and do all like the main missions. Like I said, like 12, 15 hours, somewhere in that range is how much I've played this game. That also includes like screwing around for a little bit and, doing a couple of ambulance missions or whatever other bonus things you can do in there. But yeah, if anyone's on PS Plus and you haven't thought about this game in 20 years, go back, check it out. It was a fun time to screw around with it. And like I said, I think the thing that really made me stick with it is that the driving mechanics were super fun. They felt great. They were super janky at the same time. It led to some really just insane physics stuff going on. So yeah, I had a really good time with GTA 3. And yeah, Vice City I think is next up. I don't know when I'll get to that because that's not on PS Plus. So at some point, my plan was to subscribe to the Rockstar Plus Premium, whatever the heck they call that thing, because they have all those games on there. And then plow through a bunch of those games, maybe even jump into Bully as well. But yeah, just kind of tentatively getting ready for GTA 6 by playing some of the old ones that I haven't messed around with. So yeah, shout out to GTA 3. It's a good time. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the only game I wanted to shout out other than our first topic here. So how about we take a quick break? When we come back, we will talk about Sword of the Sea. All right, we are back. Sword of the Sea is the latest game from the studio called Giant Squid, I believe is their name, who made Pathless and Abzu, and then that same creative team, I think under a different team name, made Journey, which is, of course, their like biggest, most famous game. And yeah, here's their latest game, which feels very much in line with what those games are. I think most closely to Journey. It seems like they're kind of going back to the well a little bit in terms of that. Kirklin, I know you're a big Journey fan, but I don't think you've played Abzu or Pathless, right? Are you kind of just a one game from the studio kind of guy?
Not yet. Will be my little asterisk I'll put with that.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, no, I haven't actually. I've always had Abzu. I think it was like one of my PlayStation monthly games from like years ago. I got that. And I never really knew what that was until going through this. And then just when I like Googled about the game, I just saw like similar games. I'm like, wait, is that actually by the studio? That's crazy. And so yeah, no, I'd only played Journey, which is through like the different studio, but you can definitely tell that just like the heart and soul of like I don't know which member it was, but like the guy that started Giant Squid, I believe, was like a I don't know, visual something. I don't want to like throw out a title at him and be wrong, but he was a big part of it. Obviously, same composer also from Journey.
Yep,
I think he did all of the titles that you listed off with Pathless and Abzu. I just did my little research there, and like. Yeah, just such a vibe game. Journey will always remain as like one of my favorite just experiences in gaming, especially like it being my first of this type of what these games are. Don't really know what genre it would be, just like an immersive experience.
Journey likes.
Yeah, Journey likes, exactly. The Edith
I don't think they have like
a
succinct name, but just like low mechanics, vibes focused, probably short. Yeah,
one sitting,
maybe
typically.
One sitting. Yeah, those are kind of like the defining characteristics. But like big focus on, I think the aesthetics, right? Like the visuals and the soundtrack are super important in terms of like big swelling music lining up with a very specific visual, that kind of stuff.
These the two that I've played, I feel like, and I imagine it's the same with the other two titles as well. They really hit on like, just like I don't know if emotional is the right word. I'm going to use it because I feel emotional when I play these games. And it just hits that crescendo of you're just like, let's just say you're like going down a path or something, or you're going around a bend, or maybe you're coming up to like a little, like just, I don't know, hill or something. And then you get, and like the scores coming in, it's building up. And then as you hit that moment, it just like hits the whole music and you just get the visuals of the whole world. Like I get multiple of those moments in both Journey and in this game. And it just like goosebumps. And it's just like, does something to the soul. I feel that it's really provoking in a positive way. I think both of these games have, and I imagine that because these both have them, like I can only guess what the other two experiences would be like. So I definitely got to jump in there.
Maybe a bit more mechanic-y. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I think there's a bit more going on.
That's one with like the archer, right? He's like shooting the targets, and it's all about like I think you just chain them, and then you go faster and faster and faster. I
think that sounds right, and I think it's kind of more foresty themed. Maybe there's a sandy area, and then Abzu is like an underwater kind of exploration. So I'm guessing that one's more in line with maybe Sword of the Sea and Journey in that way. But yeah, for me, I've never played any of their games before. This is my first time jumping in. Journey is definitely a big blind spot for me, and it's like it's so short. I should just knock it off the list.
Well, it's interesting that you haven't like this is your first one because like well, you know, as we talk about it, I'll ask you some questions in that regard because Journey for me, like it was just such a I have no idea what this is, and then like getting those emotions that I just listed out, and just like those big crescendo moments for the first time, like after never playing a game to that level. That's why it'll just always be the number one of these types of games for me. I don't think I'll ever be able to recreate that similar emotion. This one's interesting though because it's a larger scale and it's a lot less linear. Like Journey is a linear path, and there's some moments when you can kind of wander. I feel like this is just multiply that by like, you know, tenfold to certain levels. It's still a short game, but you can really explore the world if you want to.
My
what they laid out.
Game clock when I beat it was like 2:10, 2 hours, 2:05. I'm guessing
mine was 3 hours.
Okay, so you took a bit more time taking in the sights and sounds. Maybe it's funny, like, because there's a couple spots that I was like, oh, this is clearly a bonus side thing that I don't need to do. But I wasn't intentionally trying to skip other ones. I wasn't like combing every obviously level or every square inch of these maps. But it sounds like I probably miss a couple things, and I wonder. I mean, there are once again I also have some questions for you about the experience, but I'll just get my piece out of the way, and I have some more thoughts, of course. But for this being my first experience in this, I was looking forward to it because I love so much like the Edith Finch like games that we've talked about a lot as well. And I thought, okay, short games, 2 to 3 hours tops, very emotional. I think those games are more focused on like story. Like Edith Finch is more focused on story, where this is more vibes perhaps, though there is like a bit of a silent story. I guess there's like text and stuff, but it's not like it's a big narrative kind of thing that it's focusing on. So I was expecting to really enjoy this, and I love a good short game. But I gotta say that this game really didn't do anything for me, unfortunately. And it feels like I'm very much on the outs with that because it sounds like you really enjoy it. Going on Backloggd.com, seeing all the reviews, people are just like so much praise for this. Listen to a couple other podcasts, and people love this game and just vibe with it. And like, I don't know, it just didn't really do much for me. Like, I think I liked the early zones the most, and maybe that's where I, like, by the time it was over, I was like, oh, that's it? I maybe wanted like a bit more. There's like a lot of mechanics that are introduced, but I kind of feel like the game doesn't really do anything with any of them, and I can get more into detail on what that stuff is later. And that's where I think Journey might be even better because it's just like even more shaved off and there's nothing on top. It's just like that core experience. But yeah, like for me, it didn't like have any emotional resonance, unfortunately. Like I can see the pieces there that make it work. Obviously, like the visuals and that music. But I don't know. Maybe I need a bit more story told to me or something. I'm not sure what it is, but there's just something with my brain, I think, in this game in particular, and I'm curious to see how that goes when I go back and check out the other games, specifically Journey, if I have a similar experience where it's just a resounding meh. But yeah, it sounds like you're higher. So how did you feel about Sword of the Sea?
Yeah, I definitely am higher, but I'm not to the level that maybe I don't know. I want to wind that back because I did get that just feeling that I like just when the music's hitting, like I'm just floating around, especially in like the opening area. Like you're just like going down these like little like sand dunes. In my opinion,
that's the best part of the game, which is
yeah, the
good
opening.
And bad thing. Yeah.
No, for sure, because it's just like introducing you to like this is the world, and then like absolutely no HUD at all, which is the same thing with Journey. No go this way, no markers or anything. Like just this is your ride, and you're just gonna go riding, and like it doesn't tell you to like play around with these like momentum mechanics of like jumping on the hills, but you just naturally kind of do that sort of thing. And like in Journey, you never had a hoverboard to like this level, but like it's just a similar type of path that they're going down. There's even a very similar shot, I think they used it in the trailers, when it's just like you're like sliding down on your blade, and it's like kind of at a side angle to you, seeing like the big mountain in the background. Journey had like a very, very similar shot. Of course, the composer's the same, so it's like I'm looking at Journey right here, and that's not a bad thing, 'cause it's a absolutely beautiful shot. But I think why this one isn't going to be the most memorable for me is they do introduce some interesting things with just the world and kind of what your character is. But the thing that's so great about Journey is like I still don't fully understand like the history of like what that world is. It's the same idea. It's kind of looks like a post-apocalyptic world. Like there's some ancient something that has been there
Sure. Yeah.
before. Um, but like that, there's so much more to that. To no pun intended, to the journey of what that story is. And just like the silentness of it. Like I felt like it just carried so much more storytelling than what this one did for me. By the end, like I thought it was an okay adventure. But and there's minor spoilers, like a little boss battle that you do at the end, and then like after that I was just like, oh, okay, and then it just like rolls credits and it's like, oh, okay. I was kind of expecting them to go a little bit more in like a narrative direction, by like actually giving us one, just with what was shown, but they don't really go. I don't know. I'm trying to obviously dance around some things because I do want people to play this game. It is so short and it is just such a fun time to jump into. It's also the type of title that like I could probably spoil what happens and it doesn't change anything because like the whole point is actually going on the adventure yourself. But yeah, no, I definitely.
I sort of mentioned it, but a good reminder for people that this is on PS Plus, so you can check it out through there because I think it's like $30-$40 or something, which $30-$40 for a 2-hour game, and maybe you'll play through it again, or a 2-3 hour game. For some people, that's not going to compute. But PS Plus, if you're on there already, definitely check it out.
No, 100%. Hidalgo, he told me that because he didn't have PlayStation Plus, and then he wanted to get this, and he saw it was like, like you said, $30-$40, but then PlayStation Plus for a month was like, I don't know, $10-$20. Like I don't know what the price is.
Cheaper than the game. Yeah,
so he just subscribed for a month.
It's not a game you're gonna replay 100 times. I don't think.
No, exactly. I've done that for Journey, and because I love that game so much, like in hindsight, I would. It's kind of like how you, what is it? It was I want to say FTL. It's not FTL. Into the Breach. There you go. You got that game multiple times. You got your UFO 50. What was the other physical you got too?
Spelunky, I've
Sea of Stars?
like 5-6 times.
Spelunky,
Sea of Stars, I picked up that physical. Yeah.
So that's what we do though. Support and like, although this one didn't hit to the level of what Journey did, I still just want to see more and more projects from this team, and I do want to go back and play Abzu and Pathless. Flower, that was the other game. It's not from Giant Squid, but it's from the same studio that did Journey. And I did play that one also for a little bit. It's nowhere near the same. You're just a flower floating around, but it definitely hits on the same vibe. Again, same composer, so he's cooking up a storm in the audio room. That guy, does it or lady. I don't know exactly who does it, but
Austin Wintory is his name. He's great. He's on the Play Watch Listen podcast, and so I've listened to him talk. I've listened to him on podcasts more than I've heard his soundtracks, I think. But I think he just has a great philosophy on, I don't know, video games in general and music and all that sort of stuff. He's a very brilliant guy, so it's cool to see this pairing again. It's cheese and wine. I guess I don't really drink
what a good
wine.
pairing.
People like that though.
Cheese and wine. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it would be good. I think like cheese and fruit is something more for me. And I think of the specific scene.
Cheese, a fine wine.
Like it's probably a saying. It probably is a thing. But for me, like I don't want wine and cheese together.
You want beer and peanuts.
Well, I was gonna say I want cheese and fruit, or like wine and red meats, like a nice steak and wine, or maybe I guess some from Alfredo. Or I'm not really eating Italian places, but if I want to get my Italian on, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think we, I don't know. Once again, spoilers are weird for a game that's this short. I don't think we need to talk in detail about like the later areas, I guess. But like, just as you mentioned, that opening zone, the kind of undulating sands, which are like waves, but they're actually sand, is a really cool, trippy thing. It's almost like there's like a mirage going on or something, right? Mm-hmm. But then as you like kind of bring life back to this area, and like in real time, those actually convert into waves, is like really cool. Or you'll like just clear an area that like a strip of water kind of shoots through this sandy desert, and there's almost like you can like look down and see like beneath the surface, but only when you're looking from like a specific angle. So I think the visuals, like that first area, and just like the gameplay was super fun. Just getting a feel for the controls of it, super fast game, getting the big jumps, learning the basic tricks that you can do, because there's kind of like Tony Hawk style kind of grab moves you can do in this. And then I also think like the area after that, it's kind of like the same sort of area, but it gets like a lot more vertical focused. There's a lot more water going on, and like there's kind of like the algae blooms that you can kind of float up through. And I really like that area, and I was kind of expecting more of that sort of design throughout the game, because I feel like I got to one of these zones, and there was kind of like 2 or 3 ways you could go, and so you kind of up to you which way you want to go. You got to kind of go clear a couple like small puzzle things, and then like knocks the dust or whatever off these chains, and then you can like grind them all the way back to this main area and proceed to the next area. And I really liked that, and I thought it was like cool that you kind of get into these massive areas. And I feel like the later sections of the game don't really do that anymore. It's kind of more back to the pretty linear stuff. But I think for me, that was where this game peaked early on, and then like it kind of just dragged a bit at the end. Like there's a lava area, and it's like just not super engaging, the gameplay that you're going on there, in my opinion. But yeah, I think the best areas for me and my favorite moments were just kind of those early sections cruising through the sand dunes. So kind of reusing that journey aesthetic, but I think to great effect here for sure.
No, I completely agree, and I think that's just the journey nostalgia came in so many times, where like the first kind of puzzle area that you come around, like I think it's the first time that you kind of get introduced to the water, and then you like start bouncing on the jellies and just fun, traversing vertically that way. It was very similar actually to just the journey mechanics and just the layout of like the certain puzzle room. There's certain, I guess they're puzzles. Certain they're very basic. You know, it's not really challenging, but like I don't really want them to be also. Like I like these games are very specific of a type of vibe. I think they did nail it. The more open areas I didn't love as much, but like I also just kind of wanted a more narrative story. Like I think the thing that I love about Journey is like I think it's 2 hours like flat, like even if you do some exploring, like it is a shorter game than even this, and it is linear. But like that's okay, because when I replay it, like I just want to watch that movie, you know, the Journey movie, and I'm just going through and progressing that way. Whereas in this one, there might be more replayability because you can go exploring, but I think it's actually the opposite effect, because you're probably, if you want to do that stuff, you're gonna do it on your first playthrough, and then because you do all that stuff in your first playthrough, it's like I don't really want to go back there and do it again. And like there is a new game plus also in this,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm really gonna be in there like right away. I imagine I will get the vibe to go back into the world, but even then, haven't played Journey in a while, so I'll probably just boot that one up before I jump back into this one.
How do you feel about the as I mentioned, the Tony Hawk style like grab tricks and things you can do in this? How did you feel about that in general? Kind of like thinking about Journey and then thinking like, how do you change Journey? Oh, you add skateboard tricks. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I found a little bit lackluster on like the satisfaction level of it. Like you don't really have to, you know, do these twists. It's kind of reminding me of like Spider-Man when you get like introduced to like now you can like spin around and stuff, and like it's kind of cool when you combo into a web. But like really, if I go up in the air and I spin around 50 times, like it's not gonna give me a. I can't. Like maybe they do give you a score.
You get a tiny bit of XP. You get a tiny bit. Yeah.
Tiny bit. It doesn't really do a whole lot unless you do. It's kind of like a time trial. Like some of the little like side. I don't know if you did those little. It's definitely optional content, but it like you're doing like a puzzle and it gives you like a timer.
Yeah, like a certain amount of points.
Yeah, exactly.
I only found one of those. I presume the first one.
I think I did like 2, maybe 3. Not a lot. I didn't do like all the side like I didn't go searching all the nook and crannies. I got to a point that I actually did play this in multiple sittings too, which isn't how I normally play these types of games. I was just ill, and I was like, oh, this is good, but I need a little break from just any screens right now. But yeah, no, I didn't go out and do many more of those.
Yeah.
But
it was funny that the first one that popped up, because it's like there's a lot of wall riding and you have to like chain moves together without landing, and then that's how you get your multiplier up in that kind of similar Tony Hawk sort of way. And it's funny when that first happened, like I feel like I just got introduced to the tricks. I wasn't really that good with them yet, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. And then like, and my score was super bad in the first half of the timer, but then I kind of just got in the flow of it, figured it out, and completed it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that was like a bit easier than I thought it was gonna be. And then that was, I think, the last time the game ever asked me to do a trick of any kind. because I didn't happen upon another one of those things, and it's never like required to do that for any reason. It's not like, oh, you need to do this grab trick on this grind to like solve this puzzle or anything. So it just felt like, what? Like that was another thing that shocked me when the game ended, and I was like, wait, what about like all these tricks and things that you could do? I just felt like it wasn't really integrated into the game in like a very seamless way. And once again, maybe it is just for the bonus stuff, and it feels weird to have it in there at all. Another thing with that too is like you don't really have a skill tree, but you essentially get, I see it, there's like 7 or 8 blank spots, and as you collect these gems throughout the world, you can go to this guy, give him all these gems, and he'll spit out the next power that you get, and that's how you get tricks. That's how you get like an upgraded version of the trick, and you can do flip or something like that. And then the last one I got was like the ability to just do a straight down drop, like essentially like a Tony Hawk like acid drop kind of thing, and never like saw a spot that really made sense to use, so I never really used that. And then, did you get any past that acid drop move?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember now.
Because I'm so curious what else the game has mechanically that like, and obviously none of it really matters. It's just for show, I guess. But it just felt kind of strange.
I found a lot of those like like I wasn't even really utilizing like it got to a point I wasn't even really doing like a lot of flips as I was just moving along in the world. Like I think at first, I'm just like messing around doing my spins. But yeah, I don't think I did a single acid drop either. Like maybe to like test it the first time. So yeah, that's definitely something where it seemed like they were introducing something. Maybe they had an idea to like incorporate it, but that's also getting away, like further away from what these types of games kind of are, in my opinion. So I kind of don't want that. And yeah, that was something that it was weird because it's like, why are they doing this? But I don't really want them to go further. So I'm kind of glad that they stopped here. There's the option to do some additional things, but no, I don't think I had any more than that. I'll have to boot up my save and see, but yeah, it
feels like a bit of a design tug of war where they wanted that journey simplistic experience, like as you mentioned, like there's no HUD, like none of that stuff. They didn't want to have like a big combo multiplier on the screen at all times with like showing, how like in almost like a text chat or something in Tony Hawk when you do all these tricks and it shows you like a little dialogue, a little thing of like all the things you're doing. It's like this game didn't want to do that, yet it wanted like some of the arcadey fun of that sort of stuff. And so it feels like maybe I'm sure this is not what it was like at the studio, but it feels like some people really wanted that simple journey thing where there's no mechanics, but then a couple other people are like, we need some more mechanics. We need to freshen this up or people won't be interested, and so they jammed it in there, but then they didn't want to make any of that stuff mandatory to like beat the game, and so it just ends up feeling like 2 separate half ideas, or like one, the basic journey kind of like experience, and then this other thing is kind of slapped over top, but you could like easily pull it away and the game would not really change at all. Like, once again, there are a couple of those combo contest kind of things you can do, which are fun, to be fair, but like it's, even in a 2-hour game, that's such a minute part of what the like full experience is. So it's kind of odd. And so, yeah, I'm curious what other things you can unlock. And then what I found like a little bit surprising almost was when I beat the game and I forget where it pops up in the credits. Maybe it's after the credits. Maybe it's right when the game ends. I can't remember exactly. But it tells you what your clear time was and what your like score was. And the only way you get score is from like doing tricks, and it probably tells you how many gems you earned and stuff. And that didn't like bother me that I had like a low score. Not that there's no point of reference of whether or not I had a low score. But it just felt like a weird thing for this game to have. It felt weird for like, because I imagine when you get to the end of Journey, it's not like, here, you got 15,000 points based on how well you did in this. It just doesn't really compute for me. Like the connection doesn't really seem there. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
Sorry,
got something. All good. All good. I don't think I have too much else to say on Sword of the Sea. I mean, I love the aesthetic of it's not the hoverboard, it's a hover sword. I love that aesthetic. There's a couple points when you are like attacking a thing and you're kind of like spamming and he's kind of like spinning around like a sword attack a little bit, pretty simplistic, but it's fine. You're going through like this tube. It's like a fun 360 sort of thing. So I like the aesthetic of that. There's another kind of character in here, but I don't know if I have much to say about that. So I don't know. Overall, a bit of an underwhelming experience, but I guess I'm glad I finally kind of cracked the top of this studio, and definitely gonna zoom back to Journey and check that one out as well. Yeah.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier. Like, I am excited to hear your experience on the Journey. Just because like you've been introduced to kind of what the idea of these games are with the the atmosphere of the music and just the terrain and very similar looking kind of biomes for, you know, some areas. I still think they do a lot of things different. Like this one, I feel like even looking back to what Abzu was or Pathless, just because I saw some gameplay of what Pathless is, it seems like they kind of took all those things and like threw it onto this and just to expand it and make it bigger. Like obviously there's a lot more water. There is some like water elements to Journey, but it's nowhere near to the like the beauty of what this water has. Like it's definitely a beautiful looking game. But yeah, just the more linear story, and I just think it's a better tale and done so good. And the cool mechanic that's in that game, I don't know if you knew this, but like there is an online aspect to it. Like you'll just get paired up with random people. And I think my favorite time playing that game was I met someone early on in the mission, or like early on in the story, and I literally had that guy with me to the end of the journey. And it was just like, I have no idea your name. Like I know there's a guy on the other side, because you can like just spam your little emote thing. Like that's just kind of how you communicate. So it was just such a unique gaming experience doing it that way. And I definitely want you to give it a shot. And
I wonder why they didn't do that for this game. I wonder if they have done it for their other ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I feel like that is a special part about it, that this like sense of connection. That's pretty cool. But
yeah, absolutely.
I wonder why. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on this game here?
No. If you have PlayStation, definitely check it out.
Yeah, Sword of the Sea. There you go. How about we quickly talk about Kirby, and then we'll take our last break. So, yeah, Kirby Air Riders. This is a game coming out. Now we know it's coming out November 20th, I think. I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that. Like I said, third Nintendo Direct week in a row, which is fun. So this game we knew was coming out this fall. We didn't know when it was coming out. Now we got that date lined up there. And yeah, I've not played the original Kirby Air Ride, so I'm kind of going off the cuff a little bit here. I don't remember if you've played the original GameCube. Okay.
I have it, I think, too. Maybe I should bring it to a certain stream. We can boot it up.
I would love to, because, yeah, unfortunately, this game is coming out after the stream this year, so we won't be able to play it. But that would be a fun one, because I'd really like to check it out. And it feels like a game I should have played, because obviously, you know, Super Smash Bros. Melee, my favorite game of all time, and a game that was also my favorite when I was a kid back in the day. And in seeing Kirby Air Ride like videos and clips these days, it's like, wow, that game has the exact same UI as Smash, because obviously it was made by the exact same team that did Melee, and so a lot of it, like the sound design, that UI design, like all the like the missions and the events and all that stuff, like looks the exact same as Smash. So it's funny to see that connection. I'm sure this game will have a little bit of that as well, because of course it's still Sakurai making this one. He's making it, I believe, with the same team he made Smash Ultimate and Smash 4 and all that stuff with. So it's funny that he's, you know, Sakurai's back behind the wheel, and that's why this direct is 45 minutes long, the longest direct we've had in a long time for one game. And for a racing game, a Kirby racing game, what's going on there? But that's because Sakurai, he's a big personality. People like him. He's great at making videos. Obviously, after Smash Ultimate, he went and just like made a sick-ass YouTube channel and just like made tons of videos about game development and game design. And I'm sure he did a few videos on Kirby Air Ride. And so, yeah, here he is making Kirby Air Riders, and then I presume he'll be back on Smash, but, you know, we'll have to remain to be seen. But yeah, definitely a blind spot for me. And this is a fun direct to watch, because Sakurai, like, he tells you like what each button does. It's like, you don't need to do that 3 months before the game comes out, man. Like, no one's gonna remember this stuff anyway.
I was fast forwarding through it. Like I was doing some skimming on the video, and I'm like, he's still in the buttons, eh? Oh my gosh, okay.
And he has like a big reveal, like there was one button. Now there's two buttons, and I'm like, this big thing. And, you know, he has like graphics for it. Like, he puts so much effort in these videos, so it's just fun. Like, it's an episode of a TV show, just like a Sakurai direct. Is just him doing some crazy stuff. But yeah, since you played the original game back in the day, seeing this some of the footage of this now, obviously you don't have a Switch 2, so you're not gonna be picking this game up or anything. But yeah, what did you think about this? Were you like, damn, I wish I had a Switch 2 so I could play Kirby Air Riders, or are you fine to leave that as a nostalgic GameCube memory?
Yeah, I don't remember playing like too much of the main mode. There was like, I don't know what it was called, but it was kind of not an open world, but it was probably like just, sorry?
City Trial, is that what you're thinking of?
I think it might be, but there's like not really like a time limit for it. Like you just go exploring like around this giant open area. And that's just what I kind of remember doing. Like maybe in that area you like do things like you're supposed to be collecting stuff. I don't remember those just the version of the game that I was playing with friends back in the day. Didn't think too much of it. Like I never thought it was like, oh, this is gonna be my Mario Kart or to that equivalent or something like that. Watching this one, didn't have a lot of hype for it. Shay, told me to drop the quote because I had to remind her that Animal Crossing 2 has not actually been announced, and that's not a thing yet. And she said boycotting it, not getting a Switch 2 until Animal Crossing. That's gonna be her ploy to get another
Rumors
Animal
of
Crossing
next year announcement. So we'll see.
There you go. Maybe that's the murmur that she heard through the grapevine. She does have her. It's like there's many things she'll like tell me. I'm like, bro, that was announced like months ago. Like, come on, like how do you just figure this out now? And then she'll tell me something, and I'm like, what? And then I look into it, and she's like, right. And I'm like, I can't believe that slipped through the cracks. There's just certain, especially when it comes to like the animal, like her games that she's really into. She's got her finger on the pulse, but she didn't have her finger on the pulse on the Cult of the Lamb announcement. That was a big surprise, which was fun to because we watched the ONL together, so that was kind of a fun experience. Cool. But getting back to Kirby, like it's hard to get super hyped when I'm like, okay, I'm not getting this no matter what. But as it was going on, I'm like, man, this actually looked really fun. Just like, I'm not going to go out of my way to pick up a Switch 2 because of this game, but this looks like a good time and well made too. Like just the animations and everything that was shown, it looked really cool. I like just seeing the different stars, I guess I guess they're called, the different carts, I would say equivalent.
Sakurai
Machines,
was very specific about that, Kirklin.
I skimmed through that part. I'm sorry, Sakurai. He scared me away with the buttons section, but no, it looks really cool. I don't know though. Like even when I get a Switch 2, like I don't think this would be the main thing that I'd want to be drawn to. I feel like it's only a matter. I know. I don't know if this is accurate, but there's something in me that's like, around that time we're getting the Switch, I'm sure there'll be some sort of new Fire Emblem thing also that I'll be probably getting hyped for. So priorities will probably be taken in a different direction when it comes to acquisition of this one.
Yeah, I think it's cool that like this, the big launch title with the Switch 2 was Mario Kart. And then just a few short months later, we're getting Kirby Air Riders, which is more than a racing game, but it is still a racing game at its heart. So it's cool that like, I don't know. It's an interesting strategy to have like two of your big budget titles be kind of racing games early on in the console's life cycle. So I'm curious to see how this does. The Direct is doing fucking numbers, like more than like an average Direct and stuff. Like it's getting big views, which is interesting to see for like what seems like a bit of a smaller game that I don't think would like pop too much if it was just at a regular Direct, like the initial announcement did, but like in subsequent Directs. But to get its own Direct and it's like doing really well. And that just kind of goes back to Sakurai and how good he is at this, and word of mouth that like it's a fun time to watch all this sort of stuff. So yeah, obviously a lot of the stuff in here is like showing off new characters because I think the original game, as he said, like most of you're playing as Kirby. You could also maybe do DDD, maybe Meta Knight or something, but this game has like 16 playable characters or something. There's a bunch of new machines that you can use, and obviously some of them are better at drifting, some of them are stronger, some of them are better at flying. The one that I thought was like extremely weird but very, very cool is it's like it only goes in directly straight lines, and then when you stop, and it, like you can kind of like tilt it like on like it stops moving completely. You choose which direction you want to go. So it's almost like Pikachu's up B and Smash or something, like just very specific straight lines. Like that is such a fucking fun idea. I would love to have a cart like that in Mario Kart. Like just this weirdo cart you don't have to use. It's probably not meta, but it's just like a fun weirdo thing to do, and that feels like kind of the perfect space for Kirby as a character, but also Air Riders. And there's so many funny things in here where Sakurai's like, yeah, Kirby is canonically the only one that can like, swallow people and copy their abilities. But, we just kind of said everyone can do it in this game because it's like a more balanced experience. So he just kind of like throws this cannon out the window for what makes like a better gameplay experience. So, a lot of fun zingers along the way. And yeah, the thing that was the most exciting for me in here was the city trial part of it. And he said there's other modes maybe to come. So we'll see what other stuff is in there if it's that free roam thing you were talking about. But city trial, for anyone who missed the Direct, is, there's this huge city, but then there's other areas. There's kind of like the main city center. There's the beachy area. There's the underground mall area. There's like a volcano. So it's like this pretty big, sizable map. and you are dropped in there for, I forget the amount of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. You and a bunch of other players are dropped in this map, and you're going around. You're grabbing new carts. You're grabbing power-ups, things that give you like more attack power, things that give you more flight ability, more weight, more health, more speed, all these kind of things. So you're just cruising around. There's events that'll pop up. Oh, there's a meteor shower. Get out of this area. Oh, race over to this place, and you do a battle with everyone. Whoever wins gets a bunch of power-ups. All this fun stuff happens, and then you go into a randomized or semi-randomized set of mission that it gives you, and based on what everyone's gathered for power-ups, they may want like a speed one, or maybe they want a battle one, and then everyone goes in and does this big mission. Whoever wins that final mission like wins the city trial. And what shocked me about this, because this is like pretty much the same, I believe, as how city trial worked in the original Kirby Air Rider. This just has more characters, more power-ups, more bigger map, all that kind of fun stuff. Is like this is exactly a mode that they had in Smash for 3DS. It was called Smash Run, and it was my favorite mode in Smash 3DS, and I was so sad that it wasn't in the Wii U version of the game, but it also kind of made sense because you couldn't, I guess you could kind of do it split screen, but it made sense for like 3DS for it to be, everyone's individual experience. I love Smash Run so much, and I was, hoping it was something that would get pulled over to Ultimate, but I didn't realize that he just like straight up copied his own homework there, and like Smash Run was just straight up a copy from Kirby Air Rider, and so to see that mode done again in here is really exciting for me because that was super replayable, super fun, super zany, had like a weird, big, crazy map just like this did. But then also, the biggest issue I always had with Smash Run is that there was like, you didn't really need customization. It was like the mode was what it was. You couldn't like, longer time, more mini games. But like, it would always come down to this one mini game at the end. And like, sometimes it would just be like a race. And if you just had the highest speed stat, you would just like win that by default. And there's kind of no competition there. And this is kind of the same thing, what it seems like, but there's like a little bit of a choosing process. So I hope there's some customization because I think it would be much better if there was like a best of 3 mini games because all the mini games are pretty short that you do at the end to determine the winner. And so I hope that there's some customization to be done here, but it's really cool to see this done in here because as a Smash fan, I didn't realize that was a mode copied from another game. So that was kind of a fun reveal for me. So that was definitely a highlight of it here. And yeah, I think I want to say I'm on the fence, but it's just I'm not spending. I think this is like a $90 game. 100 something with taxes, Canadian by the time I can pick it up. And like, it's just a bit much for what this game is, in my opinion. Now, maybe there'll be some other things that are revealed that'll really just sell me on it in the final hour. I definitely want to play this eventually, but as we all well know, Nintendo doesn't really like discount their games very often or very, very much. So someday I really want to play this game, but it's just $90. It's going to be a no from me, dog. I think as like a day one purchase. But I do really want to support Sakurai in his games because he's just a cool game developer, makes weird stuff, and is very creative and just goes for it. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by this game, but I think it'll sit on the shelf a little bit, and hopefully someone else picks it up and I can play it that way.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's cheaper than I think, but because I don't think the store page is up, but I don't know if the price is on there yet. But I think it could be a better, not budget title, but like a little bit cheaper, knock a $10-$20 off like what the usual asking price is for a Switch game. So yeah, that was very rambly there. We're not going to go through every little last thing in detail about this direct, but I think this game looks really great, looks super fun, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it someday. But just a busy, expensive fall gaming season, so I think this one's not going to be picking up for me.
We got Kirby Air Ride, the first one. We can get we can get our fix.
I got to play the OG. I hope
we don't have characters.
I
think it was just multicolored Kirbys in that one.
Okay.
The classic.
Okay. I thought he said something about DDD, but maybe that was like he was just a boss or someone you could. Actually, I think that's what he said. I think you could like race against DDD, but you couldn't play as him or something like that. But all the characters in this have like a ultimate attack. They all have like different things and all that sort of fun stuff. So it'll be fun to see this game when it comes out. Any other?
I remember Smash Run actually too. You brought up that memory. I totally forgot about because I did have that 3DS one, and I think that was the mode I played the most because like I wasn't really playing. Yeah, it was a good time, and yeah, it seemed very different though than like other Smash just like gameplay. Like at the time, I just remember the map being, and maybe it was just the characters I played too, just look so small, and like you said, when you get like the bonus jumps and you're just jumping like crazy, or the speed aspect to it, but. In a racing style, that is fun. In like a competitive sense, it's hard to balance that because it's just you never know what's gonna happen. But it's just chaos and fun times, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's take another ad break. However, if you are on our Patreon, you could get ad-free and sometimes early versions of this podcast, and you could skip the very ad that's coming up. And I want to thank our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam Superbad Mike, TGGLM69, Jeremy Renner, Charlie Rendell, Cocktail Clay, and John with no H. We had a good time with many of these people over the weekend as we watched War of the Worlds for After 9 watch along. That was super fun. Tons of shows going on right now. Dexter, Alien Earth is happening. So much news this summer. Me and Travis were talking about that last newscast. They're just like such an endless barrage. So go check out some of those newscasts. A lot of fun stuff happening. And as I mentioned, stay tuned to the feeds on Sidequest because you're getting a second episode this week, which is going to be very fun. As we've alluded to here, it's a fun trivia episode. It hasn't been recorded yet, so maybe it's not fun, but I'm hoping it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time. But yeah, how about we take another ad break? We'll be right back to talk about Gamescom Opening Night Live. Okay. We are back. Opening Night Live happened last week, and it was quite long. How long is the showcase here on YouTube? It is 2.5 hours long, so it's juicy. As per usual, we're gonna really trim this down to the things that we are interested in. I think this one was overall as a showcase was kind of rough for me. Like there's a few diamonds in the rough to be found here, no doubt. But to me, maybe I'm just becoming more and more jaded. Maybe it's just a Gamescom issue. I'm not sure what it is. But I just feel like with these Keighley showcases, as they gain more and more steam and as they get bigger and as, like, presumably, like, the marketing dollars to, like, get a trailer in this, like, goes up and up, like, just so much of this just felt like kind of the same thing over and over again. And it just felt like these games from, publishers that have endless amount of money. And I'm just seeing so many of the same things. Everything looks like a Souls-like, or everything's like a anime gacha game, and it's like a free-to-play thing. Like it really just it's really hard for me to differentiate a lot of the things here. And so I was feeling especially jaded by this. And there were a couple announcemements, but even the trailer I was maybe most looking forward to is kind of also disappointing for me. So overall, I think this was kind of just a weak showcase for me. There obviously is a lot going on here, so there is some good stuff in here. And I guess also my 2.5 hour count includes the pre-show, but I actually think the pre-show had some really good stuff in it. So yeah. I have a couple shout outs from that as well. And actually the Kyle Bossman's the guy who was doing that pre-show stuff. And I thought he had some good zingers in there. I think he does a lot of the producing stuff with Game Awards and Summer Game Fest and all that. He's kind of part of the team now. And I think he's a funny voice to have in the mix there. So yeah, overall I was, kind of underwhelmed by this, but that's kind of when I had on someone in the background, and then, once it was all done and the timestamps are there, I can kind of click through and like, okay, this is not my jam. I'm going to skip past this. So I don't know. Maybe there's something here that I just skipped over that I actually would have liked, but it was too much in my mind. Mm-hmm. It was turning to mush. But you said you watched it with this with Shay, which does she normally watch showcases with you? I feel like
no.
You don't even really watch the showcases that often.
Not even really. Yeah. And like we watched it. I definitely skipped ahead on some of the the Call of Duty section. That was so long. They had me with the trailer, and I'm like, okay, what's this game gonna be? And then it's just like Call of Duty. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where I skip this section.
They try and trick you now. That's their new thing with Call of Duty. Like,
do.
You didn't
a lot
think
of these trailers
you
had
thought
that.
we were some cool weirdo thing, but we're Call of Duty.
A lot of these trailers, like even whether it was Keighley or Shox, which I kind of forgot Shox is working with Keighley now, which is funny. She was like an OG League of Legends caster in like the early days, so it's cool to see her.
There's a big Counter-Strike player named Shox, so when he first said that name, I was like, whoa, Shox is about to walk up. That's a weird collaboration. Then it was a different Shox, but yeah.
No, I think Shox is like one of the best of all time on like the shoutcasting teams. Cool. I don't know if she like shoutcasted specifically, but just as a host, she did. Sure, and she did great in this show also. Yeah. But I don't ever have them on like on the TV, but I was just starting them. Like I obviously knew I wanted to at least get a good chunk of the ones that you listed. But I was like, whatever, I'll just throw them on. And then Shay just happened to be doing nothing, scrolling on her phone or whatever. She's like, yeah, whatever, I'll watch it with you. And there was many moments.
Where's Animal Crossing?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's the Nintendo one. You gotta wait for that one. Nintendo's not gonna be
next
on
week's
Keighley's
direct.
show.
Well, definitely show that up.
But like, I think there was enough in here for us to like have a fun time with it. Like whether it's like the show is just, there's a certain moment where they bring on someone on stage and just like, oh god, this guy is having a rough time. Like, there's things that you can have fun with it. Hopefully not always at the demise of other people, but there was some other moments when like I think it was like a commercial break, which I was so pissed about because I'm like, what is this game that they're showing? And then like the line is like, this isn't a game, this is real life. And then it just like keeps showing different clips from like something, and then it just cuts over. It's like Gamescom. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is an ad for
the
for
dumbest
the event.
thing. The dumbest thing is so stupid.
I was so mad by that. I'm like, that's literally like 3 minutes of my life. I just lost.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to Keely, and he's like, is everybody having a good time? And Shay and I are on the couch. We're like, hell yeah, Keely. Like it was just it was a good time overall. So we had fun watching it. I think that there is a lot of sleepers in here that I did fast forward through. I think I got all of them because it was just like fast forward, and then it would be like whoever or the next trailer I would check in on. But I think the sprinkling of like various projects, it wasn't like a sleeper than a hit. I felt like I had some good, interesting ones, and then like a break, and then there was like, okay, some juice here. At the end, they kind of had like the bigger, some of the bigger titles, like the Resident Evil trailer. I thought was phenomenal. Which I think I just like, okay, Resident Evil game. I know it's gonna be amazing. Not really gonna focus in on it because I was watching the whole showcase here. I'm like, okay, let's actually watch this now. And there's not a lot of gameplay shown for that one. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, no, I did have a fun time with it. 2.5 hours. I realistically probably watched under an hour of like just sitting there.
For your mental health, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. We had a fun time.
Yeah, okay, we will go through this mostly in order, but it's, a little out of order at the same time. And like I said, we pared this down to the things that speak to us the most. First up, so this was not in the pre-show. This was kind of somewhere middle of the show, sort of, but then also like got the announcement later. But Hollow Knight Silksong, after much anticipation for years and years and years, finally has a release date of September 4th. So it's coming out very, very soon in just like a couple weeks here. So yeah, Keely was kind of showing off some new gameplay, which looks a lot like the other gameplay we've seen. And then like a couple days later, Team Cherry had like their own show. I don't even know if it was a showcase. I actually didn't watch that, but I saw the release date is there of September 4th. And yeah, already like a bunch of indie games have announced that like moving their release date back because they want to get out of the indie world. Silksong has become like the GTA 6, where it's like no one wants to be caught up in like the gravity well of like people only care about that for a couple weeks. So yeah, Silksong is finally coming out. I'm on the fence if I'm going to pick this one up. I'm going to wait and see what the price is. I played the first Hollow Knight and like never beat it, but like I had a solid enough time. But I don't know if it's one I need to play day one, but it also feels like such a huge game that I kind of want to be there for the conversation a little bit. So we will see. But yeah, any thoughts on Silksong? I forget if you played Hollow Knight. I don't think you did, right?
No, I never did.
You're not like a Metroidvania guy often, are you?
Not really. Dead Cells, is that what it was called? I don't know if that's even that category of games, but it's like a platformer with action in it.
Yeah, more roguelike-y, but it's got some of that zhuzh in it for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks fun, but yeah, no.
Dench Attack. How would you take a swing? How would you describe Dench Attack?
I want to say like Hawk-like for like a Tony Hawk genre, but it's not really because you're just on rails.
You're a train, specifically.
You're a train like
anime.
Yeah, like sensory overload, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. It's very unique. That is why it stood out. Like obviously they're like the grind mechanics. It's reminding me, and there's like some sliders that they're doing, some like little spins. It's like, hey, this is reminding me of the more arcadey skater games I played in my days past. And I think that's what like, I don't know. I don't even know what caught my interest in this. I think it's just mixing of all of that in one. Like this like the main character, because you can change your trains, but the first one was just like a yellow school bus on rails. Like this is the opening of it. It's like doing these tricks, crazy anime, like writing and just vibrant colors on the screen. At one point, it goes up on like this. It's not a carousel. What are they called? Ferris wheel. Sure. and then it just goes off the rail and you just start rolling as this Ferris wheel. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I guarantee you this is fun to play. I can guarantee you this is probably fun to play. Hopefully it's not a big sleeper, but it just looks like a type of game that would be fun. Sonic Riders, that's another one that kind of came to mind. I remember there's a lot of on rails content of that game, but not necessarily just on the rails. So I think the originality of it is definitely going to help.
Yeah, I mean, it has like, as you mentioned, like Tony Hawk, almost has like a crazy taxi sort of energy with it. Like it's just insane. Like this seems like it would be a really fun, like arcade game, like literally like physical arcade game to play. But yeah, it just looks zany and chaotic and super weird. So yeah, Dench Attack, put that one on your watch list because it looks super weird. And there's another game in the pre-show called Long Gone, which is like a pixel art. I guess zombie survival. It almost looks like a pixelated Last of Us sort of energy where you're going through, kind of scavenging through houses, collecting items, survival mechanics in that way, but then zombies will come and attack you every once in a while. The animations here are really great. It's pixel art, but it's like very zoomed in. So it has like a very, like that kind of almost goes against like the hyper realism that you expect from like a Last of Us type game. So I really like that kind of mixture there of vibe and tone. And I think the gameplay looked pretty cool. It seems like it's quite narrative focused and like very set piecey in that way. It seems like it's very zoned in, focused, zoomed in is the word I was looking for. Yeah, it's kind of survival horror game. So I quite like the vibe of Long Gone. Looking forward to that one.
Didn't do it for me.
Fair enough. How about another horror game called Routine? So this one is kind of set in like a sewer almost. You're like it seems like you're almost like a simulator kind of game for a moment where you're going down to this sewer and you have to like collect samples or something, like take pictures of stuff. I love that the tool you have almost feels like a very Alien Isolation type of tool. And when you take the pictures of like very low res, and I can just already see the horror elements happen where you take a picture of something and like a face pops up on the camera that like wasn't there in person. And as they're going through this weird like sewer area, like the water is slowly picking up, the waves are picking up sort of the sea style. And the game kind of cuts before anything too crazy happens after that. But I thought this game had like really great horror vibes, has like the really solid visuals. Like I said, the weapon is like kind of weird as well. So I'm quite into Routine. I'm looking forward to that horror games on my list now.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I think just the way you move around looked very Alien Isolation-y. The lighting looked very Alien Isolation-y. I gotta stop saying that. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it looked really cool. The first moment that they see like an enemy, it's like that android thing. And the character like walks up and it's right there. And my instinct in horror games is like never to just go towards the target. Like you just turn around and run away. But he just like keeps moving forward as he pulls out his gun. And I just love that he gets like point blank shoots, and then the android just like grabs it and fucks him up. Is like,
yeah,
whoever's piloting that character, man, like terrible decisions there. But no, it looked really cool for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then you were intrigued by Keeper, which is this was announced at the Xbox showcase. This is from Double Fine, so like they made Psychonauts and other games like Brutal Legend, things like that. Yeah, they have kind of this weird, smaller sort of game. I think from like a different, like a director. I don't know if he's directed a game before for that studio. He's been with the studio forever, but it's kind of maybe one of the more support type people, but kind of taking on this new project. So yeah, this is the lighthouse, weird platformy lighthouse looking game. But yeah, you thought this one looked cool.
Yeah, I thought it looked really cool. Another thing that's just like unique. You got a moving lighthouse that's paired with this bird, and then like. If somebody pitches me that game on paper, like, Kate, you're gonna have a lighthouse that can move around on land. You're gonna keep the shadows at bay with your light, and then like the bird is gonna have other mechanics. It's gonna be an emotional ride. It's like, how does this make sense? But then you see it and you're like, man, that looks really cool and unique and original. And I just really like the idea of it. I don't think I'm necessarily gonna like jump on it day one. We'll see like what it. I don't even remember what the release date or what it's coming out on. I imagine consoles and everything. I think a lot of the stuff on like there was some Steam exclusive stuffs for sure. But a lot of it was kind of on everything, which was nice for the whole showcase as a whole. But no, I thought it looked really cool, and just like the game design looked really cool, like visually. I think in that opening showcase, the guy doing the interview at like, I think he mentioned that the guy was like a former visual director, so like you could just tell by like the design of everything, the art director, not visual director. I don't know if it's the same, but no, it looked really cool, and yeah, cool mechanics.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that game's going to be on Game Pass, so I'll definitely be checking that out.
Nice.
I think it's out in October, mid-October is when that one's coming out. And then there was a game called PVKK, Planeten Verte Gunkanon Commandant, more or less. Do you want to take a swing at
You
that,
got
or
it.
was that good enough for you?
No, that's why I wrote down the acronym. I didn't even want to give it a shot. So kudos to you, sir, for trying.
Which I'm glad because I gave you preliminary is the word I was looking for, list of the things I was interested in, and then you checked a few more in here, and I feel like I just totally skipped this one. I'm watching the trailer right now, and this game looks fucking cool. How would you describe this one?
Yeah, so you're basically like an operator of I think it's like World War II era, like artillery gun, like anti-aircraft. It seems, but something that's so cool is like it's kind of like Papers, Please, where like you're just limited to this one booth. It's not pixelated like Papers, Please was, but you're just in this booth. That is the whole game, to my knowledge. It seems like, well, actually there were some shots where you're kind of going to your bed, but that might even be just like a cutscene, like ending your day.
Sure.
And it seems like you just go through days in this war, and you're just operating this machine, and you can kind of upgrade it. A little bit of Pacific Overdrive like feels on just the upgrading element. Like it seems like you can get different gadgets that makes your job easier.
Very similar.
Yeah, there was like an accuracy little calculator thing that you can get to probably make it easier to hit your shots. And like although you're just in this booth, I think the visuals look stellar because like you see your like coastline that you're guarding, and like you see your cannon like load up and shoot, and there's just, I think this one was PC only, which kind of limits my I'm gonna get it right away because usually I'm not necessarily getting newer games on the PC these days. This boy's getting a little old. I gotta go easy. But I don't know. It looked really cool. It's also the type of game where I'm like, I could see that eventually on console. Also, just like it doesn't seem like the mechanics are too crazy. But who knows? Maybe it's a lot more to it than I initially think. But it's something else that I loved and was reminding me of Papers, Please is like the patrioticness of what it is. Like you are for your country in this, and like there's like a scene where you're getting like a little tea and crumpets, and they just say like, you never work a day in your life if you love what you do. Like there's just something like that on like the radio, and just like that type of what's the word I'm looking for, like propaganda-ness of it,
sure,
like pro war and just pro the country. Like just the vibe of it is that. And obviously Papers, Please is a very extreme version of that, where you're in like a just a communist countries. But it looked really cool. And when he said the name, I'm like, I have no idea what this is gonna be, and it fits. PvPK.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll help it stand out a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, that game with like the freaky long title that has like 30 characters in it, but then like that has the acronym that's like easy to remember. So hopefully that's like a good marketing beat for them. I think it's a really cool idea. So definitely wishlist that one on Steam. Then there was an announcement of a Sekiro anime, which this is interesting, but also made a lot of sense for me. Like, obviously From Software games and these IP are so big now. Sekiro is like the game of the year winner at the Game Awards in 2019. So obviously it's a big deal in that way. But it also kind of made me realize like two connections that I had never made before. One being that like years ago, like I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I think it was when Sony acquired Crunchyroll, like the anime kind of streaming service.
Yep.
And then I think it was last year when Sony didn't acquire FromSoft, but they put an investment in, and they're like 10% owners or something like that in From Software now. And so obviously when I saw that announcement for the From Software thing, I was like, oh, interesting. I wonder if that is going to mean more exclusive games. Like we had Bloodborne exclusive to a PlayStation platform, and we haven't really seen that since yet. Obviously, like there's that Switch exclusive one coming out next year, so we'll see what happens there. Then I was like, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense. They have like maybe their tendrils in both of these different things. Maybe getting like a From Software anime going on and connect that with Crunchyroll. Like that seems like some really nice synergy there. So interesting. I hadn't really factored in that like when Sony wanted to make that investment, that maybe it was for something more than just games and game exclusivity. So kind of an interesting connection point. I'm curious to see if that leads to other things like that. And maybe there already is other ones and I'm just not too tuned into like anime stuff. And I think it's just interesting to have an announcement for a show like this in a showcase like this. Like we don't often see that kind of stuff. Even like the Castlevania shows, like I don't know, are those usually popping up at a Game Awards? I feel like not so much. Like normally that's Netflix doing their own stuff, right? So kind of an interesting little tidbit to point out for that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I didn't really think about, well, I couldn't remember all those acquisitions that happened and had that in the mind, but definitely gets you thinking of just the potential of what else they could do with the other From Software games. Of course, there's talks with the Elden Ring movie. I believe that one was a movie.
That's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cooking. So just what else could come through? And obviously there's many other stories that they could tell. They go in the Dark Souls world.
Sekiro's a great pick for the first one, though. I think that's
I agree.
Pretty safe. It already had like more story than some of the Dark Souls stuff. It's a little less obscure in that way, and obviously like that kind of theme is super popular all the time. It's like evergreen. So I think that was a good kind of first pick for the From Software anime side of things. I mean, I guess maybe that's not even true because actually last year with the Secret Level was that name of that show that had like a Armored Core episode, I guess. So technically, that's like they've already done a little bit of this before.
Wow. I always forget about Armored Core, just in the From Software franchise. I've heard they're really good, so who knows? Maybe
dude, there's
maybe
like
one day
those games on PS Plus. You should check them out.
Yeah, there you go. I totally forgot about that. Are like the PS1? Is that what those were on?
I mean, there's like 6 of them now, so I'm guessing they span
Probably
the generations. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe PS2.
I'll have to look into it.
Like that. I'm not sure. Yeah. Interesting. And then Valor Mortis. Tell me about that one.
Yeah. This game reminded me of a collection of other games that I've really loved in the past, mainly like BioShock was a big one. Obviously, it's a very different era and aesthetic. If you don't remember, this is the one that's kind of in the... You look like you're in France or like those like Napoleon eras. You got like I just always know them as lobsters. The British fucking soldiers. What are they called?
Lobsters?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, there you go. Which just
know.
like
I don't know
their fancy robes.
I'm questioning the lobsters thing. I don't know if I've heard of that statement.
Oh, you cut out as you said it. It sounded like officer, but lobsters. No, that's that. I think that was like a revolutionary, just derogatory term for them when they landed on. I learned that from Assassin's Creed 3, so I don't know. There you go. I'm pulling that from it. I didn't even know I had that memory until now, talking about the lobsters. But yeah, just that era, and then it looks like at some like. The cinematic looked really cool. This is from the same makers that did Ghost Runner, which is a very like master the mechanics type of game, or like master your run type of game. Like you're always like, if you don't do it perfectly, you're dying like one shot type of game. This one seems different. Like it looks like it's more of the BioShock kind of feel, where instead of BioShock, like you mostly have guns. This one looks like you mostly have a melee weapon, but you got like a little bit of a power in the other hand. Oh my gosh, what's the Dark Messiah? Is that what it's called? No. Is that what it's called? The
arcade game?
Yeah, the arcade game.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. Sword, like some magic in there. And just creepy like enemy designs. I thought like the actual gameplay, it didn't look the smoothest, but the fact that they were like bobbing and weaving and like distancing, it's like, okay, this is actually like probably somewhat in-depth gameplay of like you can dodge attacks a lot. Like the one monster, it looked like Godric the Grafted from Elden Ring, where he just has like 3 hands that are holding 3 different like blunderbusses, and I'm like, man, like they got some freak enemy designs in here, which I always appreciate. Really unique looking enemies, and just having it in this era of like the Napoleon like time. Like I never would have imagined a game like when I saw Ghost Runner, I literally had to pause it like as the trailer was going on to like confirm that it was from that like cyberpunk, Neo Tokyo aesthetic, because it's just such a different type of aesthetic. And the gameplay is probably very different than what Ghost Runner plays at, but no, it just looked really cool and unique. Not like a day one drop, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on it, and hopefully it reviews really well, and people, it's as good as it looks, because I was really vibing with the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks really cool. Cool pivot for them too, from Ghost Runner to this. I think is like a cool evolution to see, like a smaller scale thing to what looks like way bigger
For
budget. Sure. I would assume. Next up, Lego Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight. So yeah, me and Travis talked about this one on the newscast last week because Gamescom happened the same day of that, and I just had to hear Travis's thoughts as the number one Batman knowledgeable guy that I know in the world. Wanted to hear his thoughts on this one. He's very, very excited for this game. So I kind of shared my thoughts there. But yeah, what do you think about Lego Batman? Because you're also a huge Batman fan. You excited for this?
Yeah, big Batman fan, big Lego game fan also. It was interesting because like I saw the announcement last week. Discord was popping off. I know I think Travis and Taylor were both super hyped on it, talking about getting it at day one. And like I don't know, I didn't really look into it. Like I thought the idea was really cool. It's like okay, that's a sweet idea. Just like taking all these elements from all the different movie Batmans and throwing them in one Lego game is just perfect. And I saw like some little things here and there, but never really watched like the whole trailer till like this version of the trailer. Plus they had the gentleman come on and kind of give us a little bit more detail of what the game is like just yeah, details across the board there, different Batmans and side characters you're going to be introduced to. This one like sold me on it. I think a big selling point on it too is the couch co-op aspect of it. It just looks like a fun one to experience with with someone. But I also said that about the Skywalker Saga for the Lego Star Wars one. Never ended up picking up that game, so you never know, release points. This one I think just said early 2026.
Yeah.
Or did I misread that?
Yeah, 2026, yeah.
So
yeah, these Lego games, opposed to Nintendo stuff, always go on deep discounts like not too long after. So not too bad.
There you go.
Just wait on them and pick them up later if you're on the fence. How about Road Kings? Talk to me about Road Kings.
Road Kings, man. I don't think the simulator genre will ever die. Like there's like certain video gamers that I'm sure have like only played Truck Simulator, and they probably have more time than I do on all my Steam library of just like one Euro Truck Simulator or something to that level. This trailer was like a fucking epic like Battlefield 6 cinematic experience trailer. And like maybe I'm in the minority of thinking that, but I just thought the way that it was set up was just so hilarious and like dramatic. Like the fact that you have like a main character like handing in these things, you probably can like customize them. They like showcase you like finishing the job, you get money coming in. But the scene at the end when you're going in and it's just like there's a tornado coming in, the cops like making people turn around. It's like, oh, you're with, and it's basically Death Stranding. He's like, oh, you're with Bridges, okay, good luck out there. Like you're the one delivery man who can go out there. And I'm pretty sure the tagline comes on the screen. It's like the hero of the road or something to that level. It is so goofy to me, and no disrespect to the people.
Of the open road.
Yeah, no disrespect to the people that are actually going to be getting this. There's games for everybody out there. I love that. This does look like some of the gameplay look cool. It's not my type of game, but just the way that it's like the last scene is him going towards the tornado. It's like the hero of the road. I was just cracking up. It just seems so epic to what the game really is, because it's like a Pacific Overdrive trailer. Like, he's going into the storm, but I guarantee the gameplay is not like Pacific Overdrive where you're like actually going through these fucking maelstroms of just different terrain being thrown, like, all the crazy stuff that's in that game. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be like a truck simulator, but I love the marketing of it. It was a well designed trailer, and it had me.
Visuals, just it's called Pacific Drive. Just so you don't get canceled. Overdrive. You've been saying overdrive.
Thank you.
You probably do go in overdrive in that game. You go like there's some bonkers.
Sunset Overdrive. I'm combining the two of them. That's another game, right? That's like an Xbox game from back in the day.
That's the Insomniac game.
Oh shit! Xbox there you go.
Before they
I apologize. Pacific Drive, not Overdrive.
All good. Let's cruise on down the road over to Fallout Season 2. So another TV show announcement here. Funny timing that we're talking about this today, because just today, the great Annie Austin, my favorite YouTuber right now, just dropped a video detailing the unemployment rate of New Vegas in Fallout New Vegas, which is, the best 17 minutes of YouTube you'll do today. So go check out that video after you're done watching this podcast. Very fun episode. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as they kind of teased at the end of that first season, we're going to Vegas, New Vegas, for the setting of this. So really interesting, because that first show, or the first season, I should say, really wasn't based on any particular game, right? There's some like characters or moments, whatever, but it's kind of its own thing, whereas New Vegas is a pretty established thing. And in this, we see Mr. House, who's a big character in that. We see Kaiser's Legion, who's a big faction in that game. We see at one point, Lucy's up in a sniper nest in a dinosaur mouth, which is one of the iconic locations in that game as well. Of course, we see like a death claw as well, and a bunch of other mini things, I'm sure, but those are some of the bigger ones that jumped out to me on a watch through this trailer. So obviously, it's playing a lot closer to things we've seen in New Vegas, and I'm curious to see if it in any way, like, I don't know, just where the timeline is. Does it line up? Is it a retelling of some of the events of that game? And obviously, New Vegas is a game that has super open-ended. You can play, and I have played through it multiple times, and I've sided with Mr. House, I've sided with Kaiser's Legion, done all these different things, and so obviously for a show, you got to pick one, unless it does some crazy Bandersnatch thing like on Netflix. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see what they do here. Obviously, I love New Vegas. It's my favorite Fallout game, so I'm excited for that. I definitely need to do a rewatch of the first season before this one comes out to freshen up. But yeah, I have until December to do that. It's coming out mid-December now, or mid-late December, somewhere in that pocket of time. But yeah, what did you think of Fallout Season 2?
Yeah, I thought it was a great trailer. I didn't watch that first season right away. I wasn't on that review with you guys.
Right.
And then I think Shay and I were like, started it. Okay, it's pretty good. And then we did like 2 episodes, waited a week, and then like just kind of sprinkled it in. And
right.
I thought we had finished it, but as the trailer was going on, she said that we didn't finish the season. But I'm like, I guarantee you we did finish it. And she's like, what happened? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I actually couldn't tell you what happened at the end of the show. So this trailer was really good, though. It does make me want to like go back and probably watch the whole season 1 again just to really refresh. And I don't think there was anything that was like wrong with it. It was just, I don't know. I was just not in that type of mood for that type of show at that time. But yeah, I love the shot at the end too, how it kind of goes to like the Vats vision when she shoots the bullet, and it kind of follows that same angle that it does in the video game. Yeah, I played New Vegas, but like very briefly. But I know that's like a fan favorite, so it's really cool that they're going there. And yeah, it was just a cool trailer. I wasn't expecting like the cast or some of the cast to come on the screen. I ended up fast forwarding a little bit of that. It was going a little bit too long.
Yeah, I did not watch the awkward stage time is my least favorite of these showcases.
Yeah.
So I'm always
except for like the golden ones, you know, the ones that we meme about, like the guys yelling about the Oscars or whatever that guy was on about.
Sure.
There's been memes in the past, but usually they're too cringy.
Very memeable moments, no doubt. Yeah. Okay, next up is gonna be our last ad break of the show. We will be right back. Okay, that was a mid-sentence ad break transition there. So new tech unlocked.
Nice.
A game that was announced a while ago, and I feel like hasn't gotten an update in a while. It was supposed to come out this year. It is now coming out next year. Apparently, is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which is just like the most testosterone-fueled, like, 80s action movie vibe of all time. But something about this game, man, like, I just want to play it so bad. It just looks like so much fun. It looks very Left 4 Dead-y, but with, like, more vehicles going on, like, more quantity of like, zombie enemy type things that you're fighting up against. I don't know. It just seems like a really good time. One of the things that I think it looks really exciting is, like, at one point they're, like, driving a car, almost like a Road Kings type situation happens, where they're, like, the truck is, like, getting stuck in the mud a little bit, so they got to, like, use some wires and things like that to, like, pull the truck out of the mud, which just seems like a perfect thing to do when there's like enemies just like flooding you from all angles. I just feel like the tension of that, of like trying to complete the objective while fending off these endless hordes of enemies, just seems like super fun. So I don't know what it is about this game. You know, it's definitely like a B action movie type thing, but man, I definitely want to play Toxic Commando at some point. I think it has co-op, right? So I think it would be a fun one to play with some friends, but something about this game is talking to me.
Yeah, there was another game on the roster I actually forgot to write down, but it had this similar thing to this one that had for me, where like as the trailer was going on, I'm like, it's not working for me, like, you know, it's not selling me on it. But then I think about those moments where I'm like, but if you had a group of friends playing this, I guarantee you're gonna be having a blast. Like that one scene that you mentioned when he's on like the vehicle and they're just going through just fucking chaos. It looked really fun, and there's just other areas of them just progressing through the level. Of course, it's reminded me of like the good old Left 4 Dead days, and just those types of titles. But yeah, no, there was something that lifted it up like a couple tiers for me. Of you know, initial reaction not so hot, but just the idea of playing with friends, it adds a special buff to the trailer. Yeah.
And then next up is Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven, which is a paid DLC coming to the game 2026. So yeah, I think the game's had like three DLCs at this point, right? But I believe those are all free. You can correct me here because you're the kind of master of this game now. You've overtaken me. I was ahead of you at one point, but now I can't stand a chance. But yeah, I think this is the first paid DLC, which has a few features coming out. And so yeah, you and Shay obviously have done everything you can possibly do in this game. Are you guys going to come back for this DLC? You going to get back in cult mode again?
I almost should have recorded the reaction to this trailer coming on, because like she was on her phone and I'm like, ready for this, it's coming up, and she's like, okay, whatever, and then it just really cool trailer. I thought the cinematic was beautiful. I've loved all the cinematics actually that they've done for Cult of the Lamb. Just making I got the lamb right here actually. Just looking really cute with the cartoony style. And like as soon as she saw like the lamb, she just like looked at me, and it was just like such a great moment. And then after the trailer, obviously we're super hyped. We're gonna be jumping on that day one that it is released. It's a paid big content increase, but yeah, we're gonna be jumping in there. But after the trailer, she said that she was actually gonna ask today if we could get back into that game, like even without this news. So it was just like a natural wanting to jump back into it. And there's so much end game content that we haven't even scratched. We put in a lot of hours into it, but I think we kind of just burnt ourselves out because we were grinding it so hard to beat that like the DLC. Well, the free DLC at that time, but no, it looked really cool. Yeah, just new monsters, new weapons, the snowy type elements. It looks like you ride a yak at some point. Yeah, just all of that stuff. We're gonna be losing a lot more cult members, I'm sure, because of the elements. Trying to keep them alive, trying to keep them warm. But this is so cool, actually. That like the longevity of the game was already there for myself. Like I played it, we reviewed it, and then I kind of put it down, but then rediscovered it with the couch co-op inclusion. Loved that content that they added there, and then this now, and it's been a couple years since the game's been out, so it's cool that they're still supporting it, and they're gonna get my support. I'm gonna be buying that full price day one, so hopefully a lot of people also are excited about it. It's a really cool game, and I'm glad that it lived up to my expectations, because just the idea of it was really cool at the time. And I mean, now I got the merch. I got the plushie. So there you go.
Yeah, I love the kind of continuing theme of video games having like winter themed DLCs. That seems like such a boon that happens like over and over again. But I think that survival mechanics kind of brought in with that of like having to keep warm and whatnot does seem really cool. I think that's interesting. And then the other big thing for me that stood out was like the ranching edition. You mentioned like the yak there, but that seems like a big part of what we're now, rather than just kind of having to manage your cult, you're also having to manage the different animals that you're collecting. And then obviously they'll give you like resources, like I don't know if you can get lambs and sheep, because that would be kind of weird considering the character you are, but like, you get their wool or whatever from cows. You can get like different stuff and whatnot. So that seems fun. I'm guessing that with the game, you'll get like a bigger home base, I would assume, or did any of the DLCs already do that? Like the main, because that like zone actually becomes pretty small once you're like towards the end game. It's like, oh, I'm really filling out like most, there's a lot of empty blocks, but in terms of like big empty spaces, you kind of run out of those.
Yeah, I felt like it looked like it was like somewhat different of a design too. Like obviously you can design your camp in a different way, but I might have to pull up the video again and check, but it looked like they had like different like tiers of terrain. Maybe I'm totally imagining it. Maybe it was just the way that the buildings were layered. It looked like that, but because I don't really have room to put stuff on our land right now, and I imagine I'm going to be getting a lot new buildings to add in there. So I think they definitely should expand that area, so I don't really have to pick and choose and delete some things, because I kind of need the things that I built in there, right? Like my fertilizers to keep my crops going, and just it's a well-run camp. I don't want to have to make some cuts to fit some yaks or other animals or whatnot in there.
Did they ever kind of patch up the performance issues that happened like in the cult area? I just remember like once you got so much stuff, it would start to lag, and then whenever that like new day would pop up and like all the whatever things would pop out, it would like just like freeze the game for a couple seconds and all that. Like, did they ever fix that stuff?
We had multiple issues, even like on our last playthrough. I remember like in the early Switch, like because I first played it on the Switch, and then on our recent ones we were playing on the PlayStation because it was just on the catalog there. I found it like ran better on the PlayStation. That was also like years later, so like maybe they had patched all that stuff, but like still we were getting some issues. Like I remember there was some crash to desktops that really ruined our our experience on that one. Just some annoying things like that would spawn up. So hopefully I'm expecting there to be some of that, especially anytime they add new things to the game. But I think it is installed, and every once in a while, like I see like game updated, like Cult of Lamb. So I imagine they've just been doing some bug fixes here and there. I mean, fuck, they have a whole new paid expansion. I imagine they're still supporting the game on the baseline also. So I'll report back when we jump in there, and I'm sure I'll be on here to give my little review.
Yeah, no, looking forward to hearing about it for sure. Because I had a great time with the game, but I think I'm fine on it, and I like just getting my updates from you, because that sounds that's kind of where my Cult of Lamb content comes from these days. I don't like it that way.
Till the movie comes out.
Yes, then the anime, on Crunchyroll. Speaking of new content, Ghost of Yotai got a new trailer here, which didn't really show a lot of new clips, but then the kind of stinger right at the very end is that it confirmed that Legends, the kind of multiplayer mode that was in the first game, is finally coming back for Yotai as well, and that's going to be coming 2026. So obviously the game launches in early October, but then Legends will be coming out sometime next year. So that's a big deal for me, and I know a big deal for Travis as well. He and I have very much been on the fence, and Legends was like the thing that would maybe tip us over. So because it's not till next year, I might still be on that fence, and I might like pick it up later. Maybe it'll be on sale or something. I can pick it up around Legends comes out. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe they'll have like a cheaper Legends only situation, just because, man, once again, there's so many freaking things coming out in October. I just don't know how much time I'd have for it, and once again, games are expensive these days. But yeah, I love that confirmation. I kind of assumed it was going to happen, but it's just nice to get that, because Legends was super duper fun. And I know you've kind of already, I think you were way further over that fence than me and Travis were, but I think if anything, this is probably a good extra kick to pick that game up, eh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every time I see like new content for this, I love this trailer. It was just getting me excited, and knowing that Legends, again, same avenue. It's coming a little bit later, early 2026. Is that what you said?
I think they just said 2026. So I'm assuming, just based on maybe 3 or 4 months later, hit it with that DLC. Because if they wait too long, maybe lose some of the hype. But a bit of assumption on my part.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love the snow area of the gameplay trailer of her just taking on those baddies. Oh, it just looks so good. Yeah, excited.
Yeah. And then another one that I skipped past somehow, but I'm glad you put on my radar again, is Project Spectrum. Do you want to describe this one?
Yeah. I should have wrote a little detail. I'm pretty sure this is the one where it's like a horror game again.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. The gameplay itself, I think, is what wrote me in so much. Like, it's kind of a, I don't know, interesting setup, I guess, of this character. There's you just don't really know what's going on, but I imagine there's a lot of head trippiness that's going in there. There was things in here that reminded me of Soma, which is a very trippy game, because you're like going through mental events. There's many games that do that, whether it's like Amnesia, Dark Descent, but just like the mind trippiness of it and the actual like gameplay. Another one that kind of reminded me of BioShock. I was talking about BioShock earlier, specifically with like the powers and the weapon, but this one was just like the claustrophobic nature of your environments. Like, there's a lot of dark areas. The lighting looks spectacular in this, and there's many moments where I'm like, is this a cutscene? Is this gameplay? Like, she's like shooting this one enemy, and I'm like, hey, this has to be gameplay, right? Like, it looks like a gameplay, but then it would also morph into like what I thought was a cutscene, but maybe it wasn't a cutscene. So
it's
I
one
need
of those
a little
games
bit
that looks
more.
too good to be true. So I'm curious to see that.
Claire
full
Obscura
release.
was too good to be
Claire
true.
Obscura's
Maybe
one of
not.
them,
It was just too good. It does happen though, and yes. So that was like an asterisk I had where I'm like, I need more on this, because I don't know what's a cutscene and what's not. This could just be god awful, but this is just a really good trailer. But I thought this was a really cool trailer, and gameplay wrote me in, visuals wrote me in, enemy type wrote me in, and the actual just the way they're telling the story was kind of interesting too. When he's like, well, you're the monster, or whatever the interviewer says. It's like, well, what if you're the monster? And then it goes to that verb where she's kind of morphed up. But question mark, but definitely intrigued. I'm going to be investigating this one a little bit further as we get more info.
It looks very Resident Evil-y in a lot of ways in terms of going through a big creepy mansion. I mean, that one shot early on when you're like busting through the door, and then there's just like the wind blasting through the windows, and the blinds are flying up. I'm like, I've never seen a video game look like this before. The physics are insane. So, and then like the weird enemies you're fighting. Yeah, this game looks insane. It seems like there's obviously like a bit of magic going on, but also as you're going through this, seems like maybe at some points you're gonna have like a crew with you, or at least like one other guy, which is I think kind of rare for like these Amnesia Soma like games. Like normally you are completely on your own, but in this there's like I don't know, maybe I'm sure they get killed or whatever, and then you are on your own. But like yeah, it's there's a few things that set it apart from the competition. So it looks crazy. Looks cool.
The first time that she goes into, like, the first time that she's in the mansion area, and you have that one guy that's with her, and when he gets killed, it looks like it's like a character of the story that just goes, like, the way that she just like reacts to him dying. It was just funny because in those moments, like you said, I'm usually alone, so I am curious how much of a I don't know, party element there is.
Yeah. Sometimes you see with these games that are called Project something that's like not the final title. So I wonder if this game, if that is the title of it, or if it's going to change at whatnot. I think Spectrum's what if it was just Spectrum? I think that's fine. That's okay.
I think of like now Marvel Spectrum, like just like light.
That's crazy.
And visual something.
It had
about
quite
that.
an effect on you, didn't it? The Marvels.
It had an effect. That's for
Had
sure.
an effect. Yeah. I just called it out, but Resident Evil Requiem next up here. So I want to actually hear from you on this because you said you were pretty hyped about this this trailer.
Man, while I was watching this, something in me was just like, I gotta man up, and I gotta freaking play some of these Resident Evil games and not get scared and play them play through with them. You brought up a fantastic strategy on how you were able to start getting into the horror vibe, which I've always appreciated the horror genre of video games, kind of from afar. I like playing them with friends.
Safe distance.
There's been some times when I've gone in there and done the whole, and it's been an amazing experience, but terrifying. I'm sweaty afterwards, and then I'm just looking over my shoulder. If I'm home alone, it's a scary element. But the way that they tell stories in horror games is just something else. They're usually really fucked up and layered too, like the storylines. Brought up Soma earlier. Outlast was like one of the just most fucked up stories when you actually dig into like the notes and details of what those worlds are. I've always loved them. Specifically now, like when we're in like the net, because Resident Evils, I think you could break down like different genres of the games. There's like the really weird camera angled ones, which Silent Hill also had, but like the PS1 era. But then like I want to say like the Resident Evil 2, like with the first remake of Resident Evil 2, I think that kind of started because that was before Biohazard, right? Or was Biohazard first?
In terms of release date of remake or 7, I think 7 came out and then 2 remake.
Okay.
Right?
So then maybe the start of that one where they just had these like beautiful looking like triple A, I'll almost argue a quad A. Quad A looking games, like especially lighting wise, like the flashlight mechanics in these games are just so spectacular. I'm sure it adds to the scariness of it because it just looks so good. And when you're in these dark corridors and you just see something come around the corner, like I'm sure it's just absolutely terrifying in those moments. I only got like 40 minutes into the Resident Evil 2 when I played it. Looked phenomenal, but I was just a little bit too spooked. But I kind of got off the rails there. But you brought up the great strategy of you just get through them. You can put the game on easy. You don't have to beat these games on normal or hard. Usually when I'm jumping into like an event, like a story game for the first time or an action game, I usually bump it on hard. Like if there's one more level beyond hard, like I don't know, let's say like easy, medium, hard, very hard, fucking insane. Immortal. Exactly. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the hard. I want a little bit more of a challenge, but like I don't want to be. I miss one parry time and I'm dead instantly. Like I don't want that to progress through. But in these horror games, I should just tone them down to easy and not worry about like min-maxing my ammo, min-maxing like should I really use this object here because I might need it later on because the difficulty, it's making me do these decisions. Just progress through them. Maybe play with the lights on. I don't have to have headphones on. Maybe I can get to that tier. I kind of got over my fear of heights to an extent. I don't get like paralyzed now when I'm on a high object like I used to. Maybe I can get to that same level with horror games where I'm not just like anxious and I can't move through them. I never got through Biohazard because game was getting too scary.
That game's too much for me as well.
Yeah. But man, when I see trailers like this, I'm like, I gotta do it because I'm just hurting myself. I have Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation catalog. I think I have Resident Evil 3, right? That was another remake one that they did.
Yep.
I know. I think I have access to that one. Like, I gotta get in these games. They look so good. I've heard they're just amazing. And this trailer looked so good also. There's not a lot of gameplay that was shown here, but I am interested for sure in Resident Evil Requiem, which when we first announced, nope, not going to get to it. I don't play those types of games, but god damn, it looks good.
Man, I hope you venture forth, and I would love to do a review of this game with you, which would be great. Because didn't we Plague Tale Requiem is the game, right? So we could redo all the games that have Requiem in the title. That could be
for
our thing.
Sure, yeah. I forgot that it was called Plague Tale Requiem. Actually, that's the second one, right? And then the first one just Plague Tale.
I've already forget. I think that is right. Plague Tale Innocence and then Requiem.
Innocence. Right? That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. I've well documented on Sidequest because that's when I've been getting into Resident Evil. But it started with 8 for me, really, of like, okay, playing 8, loving 8, and then really going back, plugging through all these older ones, kind of catching up on stuff, getting much more familiar with the series. And so because of that, I've been like very excited for the next one, because I'm like, okay, because even 8 I picked up a few months down the line, so I wasn't there day one. And now I'm like, okay, I'm like a big Resident Evil fan now, really into the series, kind of played all the different eras. Haven't played every single game yet because there's like a million spin-offs and all that, but I've played a lot of them. And so I'm kind of excited to get in there day one with everyone else. But so far these trailers aren't like really doing it for me yet. And this one I thought was good in that it seemed like, oh, here's just like 10 minutes of the game pretty much. Like it shows you a cutscene and then that like leads into a bit of gameplay. There's a lot of cutting. You're skipping like little sequences, I'm sure, here and there. And so far we've really only seen like this one kind of main location, like this motel. The lights get shut off. You got to go look around with your mom. Mom goes missing, or who knows? Maybe she gets shot in the head. It's kind of unclear. The trailer kind of cuts with like what exactly happened to her, and then I'm sure that'll lead you going through all this town. It seems like you're in maybe the remains of Raccoon City or something like that. There's at least shots we've seen of something like that. So, I'm curious to see what the rest of it is. I'll definitely still be there and going to be picking it up and playing it. New protagonist. The mom character is from another Resident Evil game, but it's like a small, obscure one. I've definitely not played it, and I don't even think she's a big character. She's almost just like a name or something. So, interesting little breadcrumbs along the way. But I'm excited for this, and yeah, it's been a bit since I've actually played the first person ones, because I've kind of been going on the third person journey, playing a lot of the remakes and stuff. So, very excited for this game still, even if the trailers aren't doing it for me. But I also kind of like that they're seemingly holding back and not giving too much away. I'm sure, we got more months. I'm sure at the Game Awards they'll be there. It's coming out in February, so I'm sure that'll happen. Probably like a couple of trailers before that. So I'm sure I'll know way too much about it by the time it actually comes out. But right now, I'm kind of glad that they're holding back a little bit. So yeah, Resident Evil coming out late February, I think. So pretty soon, which is nice.
Nice.
And then to close it out, or is there anything that I skipped from your list, or am I on to the last one?
What did I get?
I think I snuck all the ones you mentioned in there.
Oh, I forgot to shout out Chronos: The New Dawn. That was the one where
sure, yeah.
They brought out like the cosplayer type gear thing. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Dead Spacey. That was another game that was too scary for me to get through, but just like the claustrophobic nature of space, the lighting, like everything about it looked really cool. But I think just as it went on and showed off some characters, and they didn't really show story stuff, but they showed like just different characters I imagine that you're interacting with. And there was just a lot in there that made me think that this game is like bigger or more than just what the first initial, well, I don't know if it's the first initial trailer, but what was shown here really has. This one's out like right away too. I think it's like September 5.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll wait and see. I doubt I'm gonna be getting this, but it's just one that I don't really like. I think I remember seeing it, but then actually getting the deep dive here just looked a lot more special than maybe I initially gave it credit for. So yeah, that would be my last shout out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that one does, because that's from Bloober Team, who did the Blair Witch Project game, and then they did the Medium, which were both like okay kind of games, but then they did the Silent Hill 2 remake and like crushed it with that. People love that game, but that wasn't like, they're kind of remaking something that's already like one of the greatest games of all time kind of thing. So I'm curious now that they've kind of maybe leveled up a little bit, and now that they're doing like another, I think this is like original IP again, to see how they if they can stick the landing, because I think the trailers for this game have been great, and it's been like at every showcase I feel like recently. It's been all over the place, and yeah, you're right, it's finally coming out pretty soon here. Unfortunately, I think, if it is the 5th or 4th, whatever, then it's going up against Silk Song, so it might just get crushed if people just go play that instead. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this is one I would definitely check out at some point in the future because I love me some good horror stuff. So yeah, good shout out there. And then we'll close it out with the final game of the showcase was Black Myth John Kui. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but the second Black Myth game, which that first one, huge seller, was such a big deal in the year it came out. I think it was like last year actually. So pretty soon announcement here, but this is just a cinematic, really more an announcement that they are making a sequel. I'm sure this game will be as solid as the first one. People seem to like it. It's not the best Souls-like, but it's pretty cool. Has some great visuals, pretty creative. This one showed like presumably the protagonist or something on like a tiger. So I'd love if that was incorporated in the moveset. Like, who needs a horse? Like, let me ride a giant tiger. That sounds.
Man,
I can't think of another game that lets you do that. Actually, now that I think about it, like that sounds fantastic. So I hope that's incorporated in there. But yeah, I'm sure this game will be a big success when it finally comes out.
I thought this was I thought it was a great trailer. It's funny now that I'm aging and I'm learning that there's new lingo, as always happens. And I don't know if you've probably heard this term, aura farming.
I have heard it, yes.
Yeah,
and
aura
I think
farming.
I understand it.
I
don't know if I could describe it.
Well, I think this trailer had like massive aura farming on what seems to be this protagonist. Anytime you're riding a tiger and you have two giants walking in front of you carrying what seems to be just your sword is so fucking badass. Like, he's not even carrying his own sword. He's got these two giants just carrying this thing for him. I don't even know that's his sword, but I'm like, man, what a badass motherfucker. If I gotta fight this guy, to save the honor of my family, and he shows up on this giant tiger with two giants carrying this giant sword, I'm fucking out of there. Like, there's like, come on, that looked so badass. I also misinterpreted what this even was, like, because I watched the showcase, and then you have Shocks and Jeff Keighley. They're like, oh, what a great time, we're closing out the show, and then I was like getting ready to close it, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's a little bit more to the video, so I fast forward, and then probably should have had his name shout out, but somebody had all the links to all the games, like in the comments. Shouts out to people that do that. It's usually like every time there's one of these things that happen, one of those chaps does that. That's a lot of work, so I appreciate them doing that. And then I saw it was Black Myth, the name at the end. But in my mind, every time I see Black Myth, I'm like, okay, Black Myth Wukong. So I thought it was like a DLC. So in like the cinematic, I was waiting for the Monkey King to show up and like kick the shit out of this guy. And then it just it ended with no Black Myth Wukong. It was Black Myth, this character's name. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. They're continuing on with the series, the Black Myth series, and I like that. I like that we're going. Well, I never played Wukong. I saw visuals and clips and stuff, and it looked amazing for what was shown. But I like that it's just going into more Chinese myths on this. Like, I'd never heard of this character. I heard of Wukong because Goku is a version of Wukong. Like, he was inspired by the tales of Wukong. Goku literally means Wukong, like, translated. So I know somewhat of that story. But like this chap, I don't know. He kind of looks like a villain to me. He looks evil. He's like steals ghosts. I think Keighley was saying at the end. But it looked cool for sure.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I think now that we've actually talked through it, I feel like I am more positive on the showcase than I thought it was, because I think there was a couple games that I kind of forgot about to skip past that you brought up as well. So yeah, I actually think there was some cool stuff in here. A lot of things put on the radar for sure. At least put on the wish list, and we'll see what happens when the games actually come out. But yeah, good mix of stuff. Not a lot of indie things. It feels like a lot of things were kind of bigger AAA sort of vibes. But for the most part, there was like some decent variety in there. So yeah, any final thoughts here, Kirklin, on this fair side quest?
I don't think so. No, I think we got them all.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think that'll about do it for this week. Like I said. Well, I guess not for this week, because in a few days you're actually going to get another episode of Sidequest. It's going to be a fun trivia episode, so look forward to that. Let us know what your favorite announcements were from the showcase. And yeah, thank you all for listening. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.